That's nice. We thought Alexander might have lost this game when we were looking at it in the opening.
Yeah.
But it seems like he recovered this well. He has a perfect score. Let's see if he
He's
can
about to
keep it
move to
close.
4-0. Yeah, no, he's on a roll right now.
Let's go. Let's go, Alexander.
He lost on time.
Oh no.
He lost on time. It hurts.
I should have asked the odds for that. I should have asked the odds.
No, there was
for that
what you know how they have players wear heart rate monitors? They should have. And the Pro Chess League rolls on. Magnus Carlsen's games are underway, so you really don't need any other introduction besides alongside me here as Women's FIDE Master Alexandra Botez, making her Pro Chess League debut. Alexandra, are you psyched?
I'm really excited. Thanks for inviting me, Danny.
Yeah, we're gonna have the call today for some of the biggest matches that are really deciding the fate of the second half of the season here for a lot of these teams. You've got Magnus Carlsen back in the saddle, trying to help the Gnomes get on track. Right now, they wouldn't be in the best position if it was playoff crunch time, so obviously we're going to be following Magnus closely. Another top player who's already begun living close to you in that area, Daniel Naroditsky. Danya is already underway here, taking on his opponent from the Riga Magicians. He's playing for the Hackers today, of course, as many know. And we're going to be bouncing around all over the place. I think there's probably no better place to start than for us to keep a close watch here on what's already an obscure opening choice from Magnus. Have you developed an obscure opening repertoire designed just for online blitz now that you're streaming regularly?
Yeah, there's one opening I developed where I can make 5 pre-moves in bullet so that I don't lose any time. But I've also gotten pretty badly destroyed in those, so I'm learning to do some better ones.
Those are the Blitz pro tips, but obviously that's not really what Magnus is trying to do here. We've seen him play this position before, taking on Mauricio Flores from the Minnesota Blizzard, who have been one of the biggest, I don't want to say surprises. Obviously, we knew they were talented. They've got huge fan favorites like Andrew Tang, John Bartholomew leading them. But really, the Blizzard have been one of the best teams, one of the most consistent teams this year. So the Gnomes, okay, Super Saturday's different. We've got player-on-player action, really, and the most points you collect for your team, everybody, is what decides the overall score. So we'll keep you updated on that. I know it's a little different than our normal weekly coverage, but it doesn't change that every game you're playing is still super important for your team. So Magnus against Mauricio Flores, this is a big one. Let's also, the time controls are faster. This is my first super weekend event, Alexandra. I'm used to 15 minutes. It feels like we're already under time pressure here with 9 minutes.
Yeah. How much faster is this than the usual Pro Chess
So obviously
games?
the normal Pro Chess League time control is 15 minutes plus 2-second increment. Still rapid chess, but not nearly as fast as this, where I think that the best players, to me, usually do better the faster the time control, where intuition is even more required. I'm already looking at a weird setup, though. I mean, you've got these double pawns for Magnus, which he did so happily, given that they control the center, e4 and c4, but this is a weird position, not one that I don't think Magnus's position is great here, honestly, after e5. Okay, I missed this intermezzo attacking the queen, but I was thinking that if this knight had to move, black is already in a position to win the b5 pawn. So after knight a4, queen c7, where are we headed here? Where we're headed is a bunch of fast games so far.
Fast games. Magnus always figures out something really tactical that we're going to be missing, so I'm excited to see what he's going to do. A small fun fact, I see Mauricio's profile picture on Chess.com is actually a book he wrote about like the 28 most common pawn structures. It's actually a pretty good read, so clever advertising on his part.
Yeah, and a nice thing to notice there. Good shout out there. If you're watching the games, everybody, whether you're at Twitch TV/chess, Chess.com TV, first a shout out to everybody, Chess Bay, Distant Fire, all the people that have been here all day. We've had Hikaru Nakamura hanging out in the chat. He did his own stream earlier today, Alexandra. Hikaru has been the star, really, of today. But just wanted to let you all know that if we're ever following a game, remind you that you're not happy with, just go to chess.com/live or click one of the buttons beneath the Chess TV player and follow whoever you want to follow. That's sort of the get-out-of-jail-free card for me and Alexandra if we accidentally miss a highlight because there's about 1,000 games going at once. So, all right, well, the positional transition is favoring Magnus here. I actually like the c-file in the weak c6 pawn for white. And again, you look at these double pawns in the center. And although it's unique, right, it's kind of awkward, Alexandra, they're very useful because they're controlling all these squares, not making it easy for black to advance in the center and claim some space. So I feel like...
Do you think Magnus is planning to castle on a little bit later? It seems like that might be what Mauricio is going for, some sort of kingside attack later.
Yeah, I wonder if white gets its castled, though. It's not the ideal setup where e4 is just a knockout, right? You kind of want the battery to be the queen in front, and all of a sudden there's great attacking chances. I don't know that I buy Flores' chances of a real attack here. And
yeah, it seems like Magnus didn't care. He just castled. He seems comfortable in that position.
Yeah, he goes right ahead, and we'll keep our analysis going of these games, everybody. You can see here we're gonna take a deeper look into this position. I'm wondering after h6 if white can play an awkward-looking move like knight h4 to f5, or maybe this is not necessarily where he wants to focus. You don't want to. Okay, Magnus just played rook b1.
He might just be playing on the open files and trying to put pressure on the weak a5 and c6 pawn.
Yeah, and here he's quickly relocated, deciding the rooks are going to be better on the queen side than they are over here on the king side.
It seems like most of his momentum is already on the queen side, so it makes sense why he would keep focusing there.
Right. The real issue, I get. Okay, I was just going to say the real issue is, do we want to play d4? Because that's the move that really cripples this pawn on c6 and makes white long-term positional plays on the queen side better. But that allowed e4. Okay, Magnus, like you said, has clearly calculated something maybe we're missing.
He always does, yeah.
And what is it? What's going to happen here? Let's say we get a big trade. Chop, chop, chop everything. We take on e5. My guess is at the end, white is settling on winning the c6 pawn at the end of a line like this, and is better in the endgame, perhaps. So, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't understand why he would give up the pawn on d5. It seemed unnecessary since he already has such a nice attack. But like we said, Magnus will figure something out here. I guess black's dark squares are pretty weak over here. Something like, oh, there we go. He just traded off.
Yeah, and we, by the way, we've already had a win on the scoreboard for the Minnesota Blizzard and the Riga Magicians. We focused on Magnus Carlsen, everybody, because that's kind of a thing you do when he plays chess. People tend to focus on him, but I just asked my staff members here off screen to continue to remind me of some of the better games, and of course, all of you fans in the chat, if there's a game you want to see, throw it our way. Tell us who we're missing, and we'll try to catch all these exciting moments. Because honestly, even though Magnus is better here, Alexandra, and he's up on time, this isn't the most exciting game just yet, right? Kind of some fireworks. Right. This is going to be a grinded out Magnus Carlsen either wins because of the weak pawn, or we have other blunders if Magnus is going to win. Oh, I've just been notified by the commissioner that actually both wins were rewarded to the Minnesota Blizzard and the Riga Magicians because of penalties. Players were late.
Okay, got it.
Not available at the right time for starting.
What is the penalty like? Do they have to show up right when the tournament starts? Kind of.
No, I mean,
I know that rule was at the Olympiad before.
Yeah, I could say both. I'm actually I was wondering if I lost my connection there, but no, things look okay.
Things look okay.
I mean, officially, I can say that we have some very the writing is clear so that teams aren't confused as to why they're being penalized. So call it strict or clear, depending on your interpretation. But I can also say that unofficially, Greg Shahade is a big sweetheart. He hates punishing anybody, and he likes to wait as long as he can until he really has to. But at a certain point, it's unfair to the other teams to not make a penalty when the rules are clear. So I would say it's slightly flexible. Like if somebody was literally in a real emergency, we would try to work with them. But overall, the players know when they're supposed to be here and get penalized if they're not online in time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the strictest penalty I've ever seen was at the Olympiad, and players were supposed to be at the game the moment it starts, or they would forfeit the game, and an American player was standing next to their board instead of sitting, and they ended up forfeiting the game. So yeah, you guys seem a lot nicer.
Yeah, we're not forfeiting people due to standing at the board but not making a move. All right, so queen b2, rook c3. Honestly, Flores he's holding his own here against the world champion, to be honest.
He is.
He's gotten counterplay that's necessary over here, everybody, on the b file. The a3 pawn is under fire. Now he's
nice.
trying to...
He's going for the back rank.
but he blundered. Queen a1 blundered rook b3.
Oh no!
As soon as Queen A1 was played, I was thinking, is Magnus going to see Rook B3? And why do I even ask such questions, right?
Of course he's going to see it.
Silly Danny. Of course he's going to play Rook B3, and it's over. Flores can resign.
Wow.
That's how you get gifts in the Pro Chess League, Alexandra. Your opponent, look at this. He had infiltrated on the B file. Black
Queen
was
B1 instead of Queen A1 would have been such a nice position for Mauricio to try and keep playing. That's a sad way to end it. I feel a little bit of his pain.
Well, he played Queen A1, like you said, and now the reason, everybody, is that taking D4 is going to run into this intermezzo. Rook takes B8 is check, so that then the queen is gobbled back for free. And, of course, if you don't take on D4, you have to defend both the rook on B8 and the queen on A1. So Magnus Carlsen, he plays rook to B3. We're going to move on to the next game. Let's check out how your fellow Bay Area person is doing.
Yeah, let's check out how Daniel's doing.
What's going on in this one with Magnus taking a big win here?
All right, so I'm looking at the Daniel versus Noel Studer game.
Yep, I'm right there too.
Studer's playing for the Riga Magicians, and Daniel's playing for the San Jose Hackers. So far, it seems like we're still in the pretty early stages of the opening, but they're both under 5 minutes, so it's going to end up being a blitz match here. Seems like Black has a lot of control in the center here, so maybe Daniel is going to try to open it up a little bit later after putting more pressure, maybe with Rook E1 or something like that. What do you think, Danny?
Well, it's hard because I think at some point the tension has to either break on E4 and D5 or someone's going to blink. See, Daniel plays King H1, I think, with the idea that makes it very hard for Black in this position, everybody, to ever want to play D4. Then when the bishop backs up, F4 is a move that's coming really fast. It would undermine E5 and launch the attack. So I think that King H1, while it's not immediately preparing F4, because I think that a wide open trade here might be more risky for White, frankly, than Black. But King H1 is kind of a nice anticipating move. I think one of the things strongest players do better that we can all learn from, everybody, is putting your pieces on the right squares, not just for the current pawn structure or the current dynamics, but you make it very hard for your opponent to ever want to change those dynamics when you're anticipating where your pieces need to be should the pawn structure change. So King H1 was kind of a high-level, all right, I'm high-level waiting move, I guess.
Yeah, it's very common in the King's Indian type position, so it makes sense. I guess also potentially having prepared for F4 here.
People yelling in the Twitch chat, I see you saying you want me to show Magnus Goldstones. Magnus already won. So if you're late, Magnus took down Mauricio Flores due to a blunder by the Minnesota Blizzard Grandmaster, free agent Grandmaster. So Magnus is on the board with a win. Just so you know, again, what we will be doing today is not just bringing you the commentary of the games. We'll try to keep you updated. All the players you now see in front of you are on the docket today. We got big names like Carlsen. I don't even know where to go after I name Carlsen. Eric Hansen of the Chess Bras. Eric Anamon playing. You've got big names for all the teams. Bador Jabava playing for the Snowballs. So he's always in it for some really exciting chess. So we will keep you updated. Even if we miss a finish of a game, make sure you know how all the players are doing. Because what people really care about, Alexandra, is their fantasy team. People,
of course,
everybody,
I saw those. You guys are offering some pretty generous prizes for some pretty hard to get stats.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we could probably. I mean, I don't want to put too much money where my mouth is. I take my foot out of my mouth more than most people have to on the planet. But I mean, we could probably offer $1 million. I don't know that prize could really be hit. Honestly, I mean, I
could tell when I saw the $10,000 prize. I was like, yeah, nobody's ever winning this, are they?
But due to, I think when the NCAA does those March Madness brackets, they have insurance in case somebody wins with a perfect bracket. I don't know that Chess.com would be wanting to get insurance in case somebody, I don't know that we'd want to pay out $1 million, but $10,000 felt like a safe risk. So
yeah, it makes sense. It's motivating. I wanted to compete in the fantasy league as well, but I was a little too late to sign up.
Well, besides Magnus winning and the Norway jumping on the board there's still a lot of games going, everybody. I'm going to open up some more players. If anybody is aware of some games that we should be jumping to, go ahead.
Wow. I'm looking at Andrew Tang's game, also known as Penguin GM.
Okay.
His opponent seems to have his queen stuck on A2. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get it out, but it's definitely an interesting position here.
All right, let's jump over there. I'm finding that game right now.
And yeah, Andrew Tang is a pretty popular online bullet and blitz player as far as I know.
Yeah, he's probably got one of the biggest followings on the web, to be honest. And so we're gonna zoom over there, like you said. His queen's on
Yeah,
A2.
so Andrew Tang fans, this is for you guys. Penguin GM. Okay, so
he's taken on Grandelius, who, by the way, those who don't know, is one of the best bughouse players on the planet.
Oh, wow.
Not necessarily what he's doing today for the Gnomes, but Niels has been involved with us regularly about Bughouse on Chess.com. We're hoping to have some big Bughouse events later this year, but not going to get into that right now. So what's going on with the queen on A2?
Well, it seems like he's going to get a little bit more space now, but I don't know what happens if he takes on A3. It seems like white can just play something like queen D2 and try to bring his rook on the B file, and black's queen is sitting pretty awkwardly there. Do you see any way that white can take advantage of that?
No, I'm looking at the live position is actually slightly delayed right now, but the analysis board is actually a little further along. So after bishop takes b5, rook takes b5.
Got it. Yeah, I see that too.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Trying to figure that out. There we go. Just had to get to the end of the game. Good job, Dan. Yeah, just wasn't at the final position. Okay.
It's okay.
Ready to blame a Chess.com bug, just like any good Twitch viewer. But in this case, it actually wasn't a Chess.com bug. It was Danny being dumb. So you're welcome, world.
Oh, no. Okay.
What's going on here?
Oh my gosh, Andrew Tang has less than a minute on the board. Good thing he's one of the best bullet players, and he has 2 seconds increment, so it's not too bad.
The same goes to you, Easy Way Fubar. I also don't understand why, but I'm also weirdly attracted to you right now. But thank you for sharing your feelings in Twitch. Let's focus on the chess. The big thing I wonder is, why can't black just continue to gobble up pawns? I don't understand why queen takes a3 is an issue here if we look at it on the analysis board. How is my queen, how is the lady getting trapped? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out as well. Okay, so it seems like he's not going for the trap. He's just trying to gobble pawns up back.
Yeah, he's just going to take on b7 and get compensation.
Okay. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough time to move his queen out of the way and double his rooks on the b side. That would have looked on the b file. That would have looked really nice for him.
So he did take on b7, rook c1, rook to b1.
Is rook a1, rook b1 a perpetual here for white? If it was white's turn to move,
likely, right?
Likely, yeah.
It seems that there's no way for the queen to get out, and no way to.
Right.
Oh, but now there is. So the queen comes to a5, asking the question: will black play the move rook to b5 and stop something like the queen sliding over to h5, or will white come up with something else?
Because again, he could play rook b5, queen a3, rook b1, but I feel like Andrew's a little too ambitious to go for a draw here, although he's almost down to 20 seconds, so that might be something he's considering right now. It's not comfortable to play 20 seconds versus 3 minutes when your entire team is depending on you. Oh, it looks like he's going for it. It looks like he's going for it. I understand him here.
Yeah.
He's probably shaking a little bit with his time control.
There's some other games that are getting lower on time as well. Andrew obviously only has 19 seconds, but just to make sure everyone knows, moving our main position back to Naroditsky's game, here we see that Danya did eventually get f4 and has advanced to gain a lot of space on the king side. Both of these players are about to go under a minute, so we can choose where to take this next part of the program. Stay with Tang or move over to the Naroditsky game. Let's move back to the Naroditsky game, because I wonder... Oh, never mind. It looks like Tang is going to try to trap the queen, even though he has no time left.
Wait, really? He's going for it?
After queen a3, he played bishop d2.
Bishop d2. There we go.
Specifically to hide the a5 square as an option for the queen, and here comes rook a5.
Oh, wow.
Now he might actually end this game with a perpetual.
Yeah. But it's nice. He tried a little bit more here. He's an ambitious player, so that's the kind of play I really enjoy seeing. Yeah, we have a lot of people cheering for Tang in the chat. We see you guys. That's awesome. You guys are really supportive. He'll probably have to go for the draw here, but he did put up a little bit more of a fight than we expected him to. I guess we can go back to the Daniel Naroditsky.
Yeah, he's thinking. Now. Yeah, I moved both back to this board because I wanted to see if we'll catch the final moments. Looks like we will, and they just agreed to a draw.
Okay, so it's a draw by repetition.
Okay, well, back to Danya's game, where Naroditsky is the first one under time pressure currently, and I
feel like Daniel Naroditsky often gets in time pressure, but he plays pretty well. He seems to be comfortable playing under time pressure. He definitely has a better position here. I'm not sure after f takes e5. Right, after f takes e5, if f takes e5 back, black can't take on e5 because the b7 pawn is hanging. But at least he'll be able to get his knight back into the game, something like knight g5.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, b6. Yeah, that was a good intermittent move that I didn't see before.
Yeah, it's important, obviously.
So now he can take on e5.
Even here, though, actually c5. Look at that move, right? Keeps the knight trapped.
This is great. This is great.
Okay, Daniel's defending the pawn, but that knight is hanging onto the edge of the board. I mean, a move like rook a7. I guess.
Knight b8 seems to be able.
Yeah,
to
the knight's getting back in.
Yeah.
Actually, this is kind of tough for black. You want to play a move like rook b7, really, to take away both of these escape squares from the knight. But then maybe white rushes forward with his own pawn. So
we're seeing a lot of perpetuals today. I'm guessing this doesn't work, but now I'm already thinking about them. Something like rook a7, knight b8, rook b7, knight c6, rook c7, and just continuously chasing that knight.
Yeah, he might be going for something like that right now, actually. You can see the live scoreboard, everybody. If you're just joining us, thanks for being here on Twitch, on Chess.com TV. This is the Pro Chess League Super Saturday.
Oh, Danny, this is super exciting. Noel played knight f6, trying to take away the knight's escape square. So where is Daniel going to run away to now?
Yeah, he's got e6 under fire.
Yeah.
And that knight is...
After rook e7, what's happening here? It seems like he might have to sack on f8. No, okay, right. He can go to c6.
He can still go back to c6. I still feel like it's the same thing as it was before. It looks scarier with the knight on f8, but I don't know that black is trapping that knight. I think maybe the best thing to do might be to try to get the other knight into e6 first to guard d8. Then you can go back to c. Okay, and that's what he does.
There we go. Yeah,
now rook c7 is a real threat.
Okay.
But even this, still, I'm struggling to see the end game, and I think that it might just be a draw because
are we seeing two perpetuals in a row? Is this common in the Pro Chess League?
Not necessarily common for the I mean, it happens. Obviously, a lot of draws happen, but will we catch them on camera? All right, so many games under time pressure. I'm going to move quickly over to. Well, there's a million different places to go. Let's go to Jan Elvis' game against Anton Smirnov, because they have almost no time on the clock. All right,
I'm looking for that game, and I will see you there.
Yeah, we've got Jan Elvis, Malev 212 on Chess.com, who is
got it.
Who's he's under some pressure, but he's also got the bishop pair and a couple of extra pawns. But I wonder if black can just take h3 and whether white really has enough. Smirnov, the young grandmaster from Australia, everyone knows, making his Pro Chess League debut this year for the Australia Kangaroos.
Awesome.
But right now, I think that Smirnov should have plenty for a draw despite being down a pawn. This bishop on d4 is...
He definitely has a lot of compensation here because white's probably going to be tied to protecting g4. Now it's pinned. There we go. He's seeing these really quickly, taking less than half a second per move. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. How old is Anton?
I don't know that off the top. I want to say 15 or 16.
Got it. Okay.
Maybe a little older now, but he's a young grandmaster and certainly a rising star.
Yeah.
Well,
look
at that.
I was looking at the roster yesterday. Too many under 18 GMs. That's incredible.
Like on the planet, right? It's like scary.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, so he's trying to do what we normally see in traditional pawn and rook end games, where he's supposed to be checking the king from behind. But now white has a bishop on f4, so he'll be able to stop that. Of course, black also has a bishop on d4, stopping the white king from going to f6. Let's see if he'll be able to promote that pawn in less than 15 seconds.
The young grandmaster looks like he's being taught some old tricks by the Estonian former world number 3 here. I think Elvis...
Wow, former world number 3. I didn't know that. That's incredible.
I predicted, I thought that the strong bishop and the rook would be enough to draw, but I think I just totally underestimated how easy it was for Elvis. to actually just move forward. Backing up on the analysis board, everybody, I guess the real problem is that there was these 2 pawns and the king activity were just easily mobilized for white, and black couldn't maintain the pressure, because now, I mean, I'm predicting that Elvis wins this game pretty easily. He managed to have the much more active king. Black gives up the bishop, and this is just a matter of technique.
An easy win for him.
Okay, so where do we go now? There are others under time pressure as well, although this looks like it's one of the last games still going in this round.
Oh, wow.
Grandmaster Svidler Soria is also...
Svidler Soria. Okay, are we looking at his game right now?
I'm heading there right now because he is also under a whole bunch of time pressure, taking on FIDE Master Arturs Bernados.
All right. Awesome. We have another San Jose hacker. That's the closest team to me, so I guess I'll have to be cheering for them.
Yeah, as everyone can see, the main board there shows that Smirnov was taken down. But let's focus on Azoria's game here, because
so now we have another game where one side is up a bishop and a pawn.
Yeah, and
we've been seeing a lot of similar games today. 2 perpetuals, 2 endgames where one side's up a bishop and a pawn. I don't know what's going on today.
Yeah, completely unintentional. Good luck or bad luck for us, depending on how you're looking at it. Okay, well let's with that game here, let's talk a little bit about the score we've seen so far, Alexandra, after the first round of play. Smirnov is 17, by the way. Staff member listening 17, in and confirmed. Okay. San Diego, we didn't get to see any of the Surfers game, but they scored 3.5 points in that first round. So that's pretty impressive.
Who scored 3.5 points? I didn't hear the name.
San Diego Surfers.
San Diego Surfers. Okay, awesome.
And
that's a great score. Did anybody get 4-0?
Well, right now there's still some other games going, so I'm actually speaking a little prematurely in that all the games in this first round are done. So I'm going to try to pull up a couple.
There's another GM versus GM game. Arm Composer from.
No, those are guys just hanging out.
Yeah, sorry about that.
They're just hanging out playing some 3-minute.
Got it.
That's always fun. I think that actually looks like it was the first round coming to a close. So.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. Well, despite Magnus Carlsen winning, the Oslo, the Norway Gnomes, and the Oslo Trolls, neither one jumping out to a great start to the Super Saturday. To remind everybody, these are sort of like mini all-star game breaks in the middle of the Pro Chess League season. A fun format where you get to pair off players who don't normally play each other, right? You don't normally see Magnus Carlsen playing against anybody from the San Jose Hackers, right? And so what this does is it becomes sort of a free-for-all, but still kept track of in a team tournament style. When you look at the stats page, you can see that you got all these grandmasters that are going to be battling each other, trying to get points for their teams. So it still seems like, so the Norway Gnomes did only get 1.5 points in that last round, but...
And the Norway Gnomes, didn't they bring on a strong free agent this round?
Well, we had Niels Grandelius. I'm not sure if he's a free agent. I actually, as far as who their field, they had Rufeng Li. That's right. Rufeng Li is a free agent. That's right. The young grandmaster from, I believe, Dallas, Texas. You can see there on the board 3. So yeah, we've got a lot of top players that we didn't get to cover this round. I think that given San Diego's start with 3.5 points out of 4, we're going to have to follow Alexandra and Sam Sevian moving into the next round for sure. As Tatev Abrahamyan also playing for the board 4, and a big part of why San Diego was able to jump out everybody, as you can see, Alexei Dreyev won, Sam Sevian won, and Tatev Abrahamyan also won. Michael Brown getting a draw there for the Surfers. So other than Magnus winning, Rufeng Li and Francisco Gonzalez also both lost for the Gnomes, so that shows why they struggled. And waiting for the next set of games to start.
Awesome. So the new set of games starts every 30 minutes, right, Danny? Yeah, at least
yes,
that's
I think
what
so.
I saw. So there's not too much time for players to recover in between games. So I guess we're going to follow San Diego a little bit more the next round.
Yeah, we'll have to.
What other teams are you excited about?
Well, I'm just getting notified by Greg that there is one game still going, and it's because they had a late start. There was a tech issue, so I'm gonna bring up that one right now.
Awesome. What game is it, Danny? Or I guess we'll find out because you're bringing it up.
It's the game between international master Joe Bonawa and Ketil Stokke. I'm trying to say that. I need to learn how to say Norwegian, Dutch, Scandinavian style. I'm struggling. I'm much better with Russian, Georgian, Eastern European names. That's full disclosure.
Oh, that's all. Yeah, I was talking to Greg Shahadi yesterday to get a little bit more about the Pro Chess League, and I was asking him to help me pronounce a couple of the names. So I see the challenges there, Danny. Okay. So we're working on pulling up the last game. There it is. Okay, so Joel versus however you pronounce
that. And right as I say that, the game ended on the main board. So that actually was a win. That was a big win there. Black won on time. So a big win for the man from the Trolls, Oslo Trolls playing. And the next set of games are getting set to start. And as we can see, that they are actually underway. We've got
okay, so the Oslo Trolls, they got 2.5, and so did 3 other teams. I'm guessing they got draw by tie breaks, right, Danny?
I don't know actually. I don't know what how that result came to be.
It seems like that would make sense since they have the same amount of points, but 3 teams got a win while they got a draw. All right, it seems like we're on to the next round.
Yeah, the next round is underway. I immediately pulled up the game between Uneski Quesada of the Miami Champions taking on David Klein of the Amsterdam Mosquitoes. But there's a million other places we'll be able to go here. Magnus Carlsen's game has not begun just yet, but let me pull up some of the games that are getting underway. We also have Grandmaster. Magnus is now underway, taking on Ralph Mamedyarov from the San Jose Hackers, so this should be a close one to follow closely. Here we have Bador Jabava taking on Grandmaster Eric Hansen, also going to be a big one. We've got Ray Robson playing for the Webster Windmills. Here he is taking on Roman Yanchenko. And
the Webster Windmills had a win last round, so let's see if they can get it again here. That's a pretty high-rated FM. Good for Roman.
Agreed. And here we've got Sam Sevian taking on Justin Tan of the London Lions. So giving the Surfers and the Lions some love, we'll keep a close eye on this one. But I'm opening up a bunch of games because I want to be a little bit more prepared for me to jump to the crazy excitement. Let me know if you see one that you want us to move to.
I will. It's really early on in the game, so it's hard to spot one of those crazy exciting games from Move 4. But I'll definitely be on the lookout for one.
That means you're being challenged. That's all. But you can do it. I bet you can do it. Just tell me what. Either that, or you can just be biased and choose one that looks good.
Definitely. If you guys are in the chat and you see a game that's really exciting, let us know and we will try and open it up.
Mauricio Flores, who had a great game last round, if you're just joining us, everybody, he took on Magnus Carlsen and was frankly clearly better as black. And then blundered a rook. So Mauricio Flores, who's been great for the Blizzard all year, he's taking on Gadir Gusianov right now. So we'll also keep an eye on that one.
Looks pretty interesting, actually. And Mauricio Flores has only 1 second off his clock from the start of the game. It seems like he doesn't want to get under time pressure again.
Yeah.
He's going for a King's Indian defense here. He castled queenside, and he's clearly trying to go for an attack on Black's kingside, and obviously Black is going to attack on the opposite side.
Yeah, and here I'm not sure what the evaluation is on this position here. I kind of like Black. I'm looking at the move f4 to keep it closed, and am I willing to give up the knight on c5 there and the e4 square? Maybe I'm not. Maybe that's the problem if I look at the position. Something like, okay, so h6 was played instead.
h6.
f4 would have invited a capture and likely a quick filling of this e4 hole, everybody. So that's not something that Gusianov was interested in. He's played h6, and we'll see where this goes.
So it seems like Mauricio either has to play knight f3 or bishop takes c5 here. I mean, he'll potentially be forced to trade off his bishop pair anyway, so maybe he can just take on c5 right now. Bishop takes c5, d takes c5, knight f3, and then maybe Black is going to try pushing either e4 or f4. Any thoughts on that, Danny?
I'm waiting to see whether he's just going to put the knight on e6. I don't understand why
All right, chat is begging for the Magnus game. Okay. We hear you guys. Let's go back to that game. Okay, we're a little bit ahead here.
Magnus is taking on Ralph Mamedyarov. Agreed. I mean, obviously it's Magnus Carlsen, but it's also taking on one of the other strongest players in the league, right? And that being Ralph Mamedyarov, who was a free agent acquisition by the San Jose Hackers in the offseason, Alexandra. So Mamedyarov and Mamedyarov, the two biggest M last names maybe in high-level chess, right? Not Magnus. Magnus with an M is pretty well known, but people want Magnus, but honestly, this is a boring position, everybody. I don't want to be bagging on Magnus. We did see him catch lightning in a bottle with a blunder, a gift from Flores last round, but both of his games have been pretty boring. I mean, this is an end game, and I look for fireworks here as a commentator. But what do you think?
I love these more simple positions when playing 10-minute games or so. I know a lot of top players, they tend to get into complicated positions, but as someone a little bit lower rated, it's fun to see these games. They're easier to understand, and I think a bit more interesting when you're in time pressure so that you don't blunder and actually find an interesting plan. It's more impressive when GMs find wins from this type of position than something really complicated where you expect fireworks. That being said, I'm not sure what the plan would be here for Magnus. But that's really interesting because seeing games like this where they have to figure out a plan in a not obvious position is pretty instructive. I'm surprised to see Magnus playing b5 here. Is he just closing up his kingside and then going for a kingside attack after that?
I don't know. I think he's just being Magnus. I guess Magnus is playing for an equal position, expecting that he'll have more time and be able to grind out his opponent in the endgame, which is something he does well in rapid chess. But Mamedyarov is a north of 2,700 grandmaster himself, right? So this isn't going to be a walk in the park. I don't think that Magnus's position is really anything special here right now.
Got it. Okay. Well, if you want to see another game, Danny, we can look.
No,
at
we're
that
good.
as well.
Sorry, not trying to be a negative. I was reading the chat on Magnus, but I actually got an update to remind all the fans something that Alexandra asked, and I will explain it to everybody else. The scoreboard you see is not. It's designed really to list where the teams fall in terms of the total standings at the end of the day today. So if somebody finishes in 7th through 10th place, they got a draw this week in the Pro Chess League standings, right? Whereas if you finish after that, you got a loss in the standings. If you finish ahead that, you got a win. So a little bit trickier than just the obvious 4 versus 4, one team versus another, and you know who won. But that's what that's designed for, is to let you know where teams fall in terms of the overall standings of today's play and what score they'll be given in the Pro Chess League standings. So there we go. That's clarification for you.
Yeah, that was very clear. Thanks for that explanation, Danny.
And
so yeah, back to the Magnus game here. When we looked at it originally, it seemed pretty drawn, but Magnus has already gotten a lot of space on the queen side. It seems like he's preparing for e5.
Yeah, here comes
he played
e5,
it before I even got to say it. I love seeing how he just transitions these positions from something that the regular player would think looks very boring and drawish to something exciting. Where
by
he's
regular,
actually...
you mean me? Is that what you're saying?
No. Danny, you're like 400 points higher rated than me, so I can't really say
Believe me, I take shots. It's okay. No, I'm just kidding. No, we're all regular compared to Magnus, but e5.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't think it looked great, but honestly, White played White played with the goal of just sort of preventing Black from making breakthroughs on the queen side, but it's allowed e5, and while I'm still not sure there's a ton that Black is playing for here, it obviously feels like Black's pieces are more coordinated, and now, nice move.
I thought he was going to take on d4 and try to play against an isolated pawn. Whenever you play against an isolated pawn in the endgame, it's always a little bit better playing against it, obviously, because in the endgame, White would be stuck trying to defend it here. But Magnus has another plan. It seems like he's going for knight c4. So he's putting pressure both on d4 to potentially create an isolated pawn and on b2 and a3 later on.
Yeah, and actually, he built on the tension there. The first thought I had when the White let Black take on d4 is like, you got to just take here and be happy that you've given yourself an isolated pawn target for the rest of the game. But Magnus, building on tension as well as anybody, he just leaves it and plays knight to b6, and he's saying that now he's literally threatening to win a pawn, and if White takes on e5, he's making the pieces, bringing Black's pieces to life, and Black's activity is suddenly You're right. Black's activity is just sort of jumping off the screen at you now, and all of a sudden it feels like
it's fun to watch.
It's amazing. Honestly, he makes you feel like, why isn't chess so easy? Why is chess easy? And why can't I play this way?
He makes it look easy, but I'm sure if I tried to understand one of those games on my own, I'd be like, I don't know. I'll move my pieces around.
Let's take a look at some of the other potentially interesting games here. I want to check on the game between Bador Jabava and Eric Hansen.
All right,
as far as excitement goes, I don't know that.
Let's look at the game. I'm sure there's a lot of Chess Bra fans in the chat, so this is for you guys.
Yeah, the queen went to a7. When I first looked at this position, I thought it was black to move, so I was panicking that somebody had made a mouse slip and blundered their queen. But no, and in fact, it was just Hansen playing a defensive move. Everybody, the last moves before we got here, black offering a queen trade, and they're headed into an endgame where
Wow.
I guess I like Jabava's position here based on the fact that d6 is the only clear target I see on the board, right? I have a half-open file.
Yeah. And it seems like Eric just... The king is kind of a magnet for all of his pieces. He brought them really close to his king. It reminds me a little bit of a hedgehog where you're just preparing to unleash the beast here and open up.
Well, the problem is normally you have fianchetto bishops like ninjas waiting to jump, but
exactly.
Here, white is really just in control because of, I think, the space on the d-file. So, knight e2, by the way, everybody, threatens to maybe come to d4, hit the light square bishop. I think this is going to be a tough position for Eric. And one thing you know about the clocks here is Eric would not be wanting to get under time pressure if he wasn't a little bit frustrated with what to do here. So this is what happens when you play somebody who's north of 2750.
Eric is also very good at time pressure. I've seen him play an hour with under a minute on the clock in real tournament games and still pull it off somehow. I think it gives him some sort of adrenaline rush.
Right. No, he's addicted to the adrenaline. I'm not going to disagree with that.
So maybe
and
that's
Red Bull for the record.
It's kind of like Popeye and spinach.
Right.
Eric and adrenaline.
Eric and Red Bull?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, this will be an interesting one to see. Obviously, Jobava is a tough one, and he's really been key for the Snowballs all year, as they have proven to be one of the best teams in the Central. So, okay. Where else to go? We've got Daniel Naroditsky taking on Niels Grandelius, who has one of the best usernames, by the way, Grandelius. I'm not sure. I mean, that's
great.
That's pretty good. So Grandelius taking on Naroditsky here, in a position where I kind of like Grandelius's last move, d4.
Yeah, I like it too. He's gonna undouble his pawns and get total control over the center here. At the same time, Daniel has the bishop pair. They both have almost a long diagonal.
Wow,
so that's pretty exciting.
How did this happen? Not only how did I how did I miss it because I turned away? But let's go back and see exactly what Magnus Carlsen did.
Oh, right. Okay,
to win his game already.
He already won
against a 2750 grandmaster. So, just when I say Magnus Carlsen's chess is boring, the chess gods probably related to the god of thunder in Norway. There, they strike me down. With Magnus gets e5, everybody. The pieces came to life, and what happened here? He just doubled on the d-file, played f5, which almost looks like white just missed this move, because suddenly the bishop comes out, and white's pieces are on the retreat, and then rook to e8 check, followed by bishop c5, and black is just winning material. Trades on d1 and plays rook e2, and...
Yeah, I would recommend people to actually take a look at this game. It seems very instructive for endgames and kind of positional play. This is awesome.
I agree. And now Mamedyarov almost resigned a little early here because all black did was infiltrate on the second rank. But at that level of chess, everybody, the rook is the. I mean, every one of black's pieces here is better than the white counterpart. The rook is better.
Yes,
the knight is better. The bishop is better. And it just probably Mamedyarov was just sort of disgusted with how this position had gotten so bad so fast, and he just threw in the towel, to be honest. I mean, I think that's likely what happened. So,
yeah, it's hard to be looking at your position, get that destroyed, and still feel pretty stable after that. So,
but going back to Eric's game, he seems to have unwound a little bit.
He did. He does have an isolated pawn in the endgame, though, so that's not ideal. But
you know, this is one of the best piece setups to have in the endgame when you have an isolated pawn are knights, because knights are the least effective pieces. They're very good at blockading, and
Exactly.
sort of spying over the enemy pieces, but they're not very good at ganging up, right, on a weakness. And so I think white is better, and I actually am more irritated with this G7 target if I'm Eric, because I can never play G6 without F6 falling. But if I don't defend that pawn, then the rook is stuck to guarding it. And that's exactly why Eric is sort of on this king rush here, to get the king over so that this rook is freed from having to guard this pawn on G7. So,
but it looks like white's preparing to put their knight on F4. Yep, putting more pressure on D5.
Yeah.
C4 doesn't work just yet, because after C4, B takes C4, B takes C4, black can play rook C7. So he doesn't have the move yet to put more pressure on D5. But now he put his pawn on his knight on E6. He's just moving around with the knight, putting it in all the ideal squares, giving Eric a little bit of trouble here. I think everybody would prefer playing white here. That doesn't mean Eric can't hold, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those positions where you love white because you're sort of playing for two results, very hard to lose. But if you told Eric he would have an endgame with decent drawing chances against Jumabayev as black, he might also say, all right, I'll take it, right? So it's a practical thing
point,
that,
Danny.
like
Good
most
point.
of the Pro Chess League, it will come down likely to a time scramble. We'll see how Eric can hold.
What top player said, I go for wins as white and draws for black? I've heard that so many times.
Yeah. And
I'm not sure who said it, but it's a good
good motto.
good line. Yeah, it's a good motto to understand.
A lot of other
Top
places to
player
go
chess.
right now. I'm checking the chat. Shout out to everybody who's with us. Chess Guy 2. I'm just looking for usernames. Bigfoot's here. Bigfoot, your arch nemesis, is here hanging out.
Yeah, he's waiting because we have a death match after this, so I'll be doing 7 hours of chess today. It'll be pretty fun.
Nice. We got John HS, EO Ghoul, Fangabo. Just shout out to everybody hanging out in the Chess TV chat as well. Thanks for being here, everybody, and appreciate it. Well, where to go? Let us know if there's games you want to see that we're not covering. I want to go check on a game that we haven't looked at so far in as much detail as we should. That being a game from the San Diego Surfers, Sam Sevian.
Yeah.
Sevian taking on.
Team. Let's look at their team.
There it is. Sam Sevian taking on Justin Tan in a really interesting position here with Sevian. He is on the prowl right now. He is on the attack, and I look at moves like Bishop G5 here for white. I feel like white is a moment away from delivering a crushing blow here, Alexandra. That knight on F5 is so poisoned, right? I mean, if black takes F5, the knight takes back everybody. And actually, no, if white takes F5, just Queen G5 is made on the spot. So, but the point here is white is really so many pieces around the king, you can smell blood. And how's he going to do it?
Yeah, this is a really fun position to play as white. I guess you're right. The only question is, how does white convert this to a win? He has all the pressure he needs in the world.
Not the Justin Tan who won the Crazy House Championship. I see some people asking. No, Justin Tan, known as Jean-Lee Crazy House from Australia. This is a different Justin Tan, also from Australia. No, from England. What am I talking about? From England. England. And,
ooh, he played knight e3 here. It looks like he's going for bishop g5 and then knight g4.
Uh-huh.
That looks like a pretty interesting plan. I love it. He's repositioning his pieces perfectly to go in for the kill here.
Yeah. No, that's a nice point. And also,
great.
If somehow this bishop was removed, I guess the f1 square would become available for white to put rooks on it and try to start attacking. So, yeah, I really like knight e3. It looks like this is going to be a very tough position for Tan to defend, especially as they get under time pressure. All right, is Eric holding on? Let's go back, everybody, and see. Jumabayev has managed to break through on the B file with a passed pawn, but Eric has one of his own. Can Harry outrun Boris? That's the question here. Harry's a little faster right now, but Boris is arriving with check, so we'll see which pawn is better.
Yes. Well, this was an interesting conversion of what we saw earlier, so this is good. A lot of attacking chess today after the 2 perpetuals we saw in round 1, so it's a nice trade-off.
Apparently, that Justin Tan is also from Australia, which makes me feel good, Alexandra, because the reason I said that is because I saw the flag, and I thought the flag was Australian.
Oh, yeah, I've been telling viewers when I'm playing on my stream that playing on Chess.com also makes me learn a lot more flags. So
Right. Not
good
all
for
of us
you,
are
Danny.
Magnus
You
Carlsen
must know
where
all of them.
no, I don't think so. But
Oh yeah,
there's
Magnus memorized all of them,
at
right?
like at the age of 3 or something, right? So
Got it.
another way that we're not worthy as compared to Magnus. But we're rooting for Eric, as most of the fans of the Chess Bra channel and the Twitch TV chat are right now. But I think he's in a tough spot here with very little time on the clock, and Jumabayev's king entering everybody. That's really the biggest problem here. Not even the past pawn races. Almost looks like Black's king could come under fire with a mating net. Okay, but wait. He played b6.
Okay.
Eric picks up the pawn with check, and king d6 can't be played because of knight to c8 check. So maybe Eric is.
So what happens after h2?
h2, b7. Both sides could queen.
Could queen. All right. Okay, but Eric doesn't. Eric wants to play rook b1 so that he takes his pawn, and he's the only one.
I'm wondering what was happening, and I think the big problem with the line where both sides queen everybody, if you follow on the analysis board, was that in the end of this, I'm anticipating White would have had some ability to just start the checks and at least get a draw here, if not some sort of mating net with the queen and knight working together. But either way, Eric said, I don't have enough time to think about that, and I'm just going to play rook c1. But I say we stay right here to see what happens, because this is going to be a photo finish either way.
That's true. That's true. I mean, if it was Black's turn to move, obviously he would move h2. Rook a. So White was forced to play rook a2 to block it. That makes sense. Eric's bringing in his king, as we all should during the endgame, and it seems like Badur made some room for his king, helping promote for b7 and b8.
Yeah, Jumabayev is in a really great position here when it comes to past pawn races, everybody, because the king on a6 is guarded from checks by the rook on a2. So that makes him able to play king a7 and walk the pawn up. Now, not right away. King a7 would allow knight c8 check, but just from like an instructive takeaway, everybody, this is a great position for the white rook. It's guarding h2. It's protecting the king here from checks. These are things that are going to make Eric's life hard here if Jumabayev finds it really accurate. Okay, but right as I say that, he gives up on the A file, so not sure. But I guess it's because he has a concrete threat, though, because rook c7 and the knight's coming in. That's
rook c7. Oh, but he can't take.
No, he's just winning.
Rook c7 and take. He's just winning here. b7. Okay.
No, I thought he was. Why couldn't he play rook c7 and take e7? I didn't understand.
Because then h2 was coming. I think that was going to promote faster. That's what I was looking at as well.
Okay, but there was knight c6 check and rook c7. I don't know. Anyway, it's too crazy for us to figure out. But he did manage to get.
Eric is on the brink of flagging, but he's holding on here.
Yeah, but it looks like rook c8 is winning on the spot. And I'm thinking anyway. I don't have any.
Yeah, if he plays rook c8, rook a4, and then
because he gets out. Everybody, this is a.
He gets out. He gets.
By the way, this would be just fine if the rook was farther out. Everybody, because Black could give checks, and the white king would only be able to hide here and block the queen. But now that's not the case.
Exactly.
Eric is going to be losing this endgame, assuming the rook can stop the pawns, which it can, and it is.
All right. So that was sad to see. I know a lot of fans were cheering for Eric here, but hopefully he'll come back in the next couple of games. Because the chess bras, last time I looked, they were still kind of in the gray zone for making the playoffs.
Yeah, right now they're honestly kind of on the edge. That's not something that fans of the chess bras are happy to hear, but the chess bras are not only out of the playoffs right now, but they got to make sure they do better than they are so that they don't get booted from the season for next year, from the league. So but Eric Hansen, a fun fact for those really, really power users who follow the league closely, you might know what I'm about to tell you. Eric has actually played the highest average rated opponent of anybody in the league this year so far, which is that's a stat that our stat guy delivered. So even though Eric has had a tough result, everybody, you can cheer on the leader of the chess bras, knowing that his average opponent's rating has been higher than anybody else's average opponent's rating so far this year.
Oh wow, Daniel Naroditsky's game just got a little bit crazy.
Yeah, I'm on the Sevian game versus Tan because they're also down on time. But let me.
Got it.
No, you're right. I'll move the analysis board to Danya's game, so we're covering both. Everybody, you can watch the big board on the left. Or look at Naroditsky under some serious pressure from Grandelius right now. That sounds like Bootylicious and Delicioso had a baby.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Grandelius and Bootylicious. No, I'm kidding. All right, here comes Bishop e6, and that's mate. I think that's a problem. Okay, he defends it barely.
Yes.
Grandelius, my favorite name.
It's a good name. I've seen some interesting usernames. I like that we're using their real names here, though.
Yeah,
that would be really confusing
makes
to
our
do
commentary job
on.
a little easier.
I wouldn't want to be like, oh, Lexi Sexy, look at this position. I would just get so confused. And I feel like chat would get distracted too.
Okay, he did eventually win by resignation, so we're going to move the analysis board also back, but that was just a position that Danya couldn't defend from Grandelius, everybody.
Yeah.
Sam Sevian is... This one fell apart. How did he go from... Oh, he just blundered mate in 1! Oh my gosh, and we caught it on camera. I always love that. I mean,
no.
Why do I live my life for clippable moments? Darn right I do.
It seems like you definitely
I was just saying, and appropriately so.
That's so sad.
Well, the only one bigger than this so far was Mauricio Flores' blunder against Magnus, right?
Yeah, although he didn't blunder mate in 1, so it's not quite
So no, this one is bigger. We turned to the board, and I was just about to say that Sam Sevian had completely lost his attack, and Justin Tan had defended well, and then he played the move knight f5 and blundered queen f8, checkmate in 1 move. So moments like these, right? Times like these moments. That's a sad day right there for the London Lions, honestly, because Tan had played so well against his higher rated opponent to just blunder it away. So the surfers
we should make a leaderboard for the top blunders of today. At least, if you're blundering, you get some award for something. I know that makes me feel a little bit better when I blunder in my blitz games.
We have a show for that called Chess Center that I know I need to get. I had got a message of the day. I need to pull my proverbial bleep together and get back on Chess Center. But it's called Blunder of the Week. But that's where people get.
I remember those.
They purposely blunder just to get featured on Chess Center. No, I'm kidding. But all right, where to go now? We've let's check on the score. The surfers are still on a roll. They started out well, and Alexandra. Now they've got 7. Miami hasn't gotten enough coverage from us. We're gonna have to check in with them next round because Miami, San Diego, and Webster are leading the way along with Estonia. Right. So
I also see Amon Hambleton. He's beating a GM, it seems like, but they both have less than 10 seconds. Okay, so that's also an interesting game.
I pulled it up.
You pulled it up. He's up an exchange and a pawn here in the end game, but it's actually pretty tricky to convert when you have 8 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and a knight is the most dangerous piece in Bullet, right? Missing a fork is something that happens. So he's going to be careful, but I think Amon's going to get this one. He gave me a thrashing last night right before I went home. Not that it's hard to give me a thrashing, but I think he got all of his tilt out of the way last night.
Okay,
and now he's playing. Now he's playing well today.
Sometimes you have to get it out of your system, and it seems like he did that properly.
The chess bras are somebody saying in the comments, which I agree. Can you imagine the Pro Chess League without the chess bras? No, I can't, and I don't want that to happen. But we created the format on purpose, right? To make all games exciting, even down the stretch if someone's out of the playoffs, so they have something to fight for. I would expect the chess bras would qualify even if they got knocked out, everybody. So I don't imagine the Pro Chess League a future without the chess bras in it every year. That's just the truth. All right, he won. He took care of business, Alexandra.
There we go. Perfect.
What other games are still going?
I'm taking a look at that now.
Well, that looks like it was the last game, and the next round has immediately started.
This is a very fast tournament. Players don't really have room to breathe before it gets into the next round, but it's good. So it's kind of also a matter of stamina for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like our speed chess matches, right? Where you've got a game within the game, not in the sense that there's a total running clock like there is in the speed chess, but maintaining your level of effort and focus when it's not like a tournament where you have a rest day or you have hours between games to sort of gather your emotions. If you like Justin Tan just lost that game by blunder, how do you emotionally recover from that? Right? It's something that there is a game within the game in these sort of intense formats.
Yeah, you don't really recover. You just go on to the next game, and you probably play a little bit more aggressively because you're trying to recuperate, and that never turns out too well. So. Yeah,
whether you should or not, you end up playing a little more aggressively at times, and
exactly. Okay, so what game should we start off first with, Danny?
Currently, I am watching... I
don't see Magnus yet.
Yeah, he's not going yet. I'm currently watching Tom Cantons, who's a good friend of Magnus Carlsen, playing for the Riga Magicians, taking on Yevgeny Miroshchenko. much easier time with those names. That's gonna be a personal goal of mine, to expand my ability to quickly recognize proper pronunciation by next year. All right, but Magnus is playing,
great.
taking on
Magnus
Sergey
is playing.
Azarov.
All right.
Before the fans could even yell at us, we brought up Magnus's game. That's right. Take that.
Yep, we're learning, you guys. We're learning. We know what you want, and we're trying to make the show as entertaining as possible.
Crypto Chess wants us to show Shimanov's game. I'm not exactly sure why, but I will do my best to bring that one up then as well. Going to be interesting. We got Jabava taking on Iturizaga for the Miami champion. So I got that on the analysis board right now. It's just starting. But we'll keep both boards on Magnus as I load up others.
All right.
Look at this Magnus opening, by the way. This is King's Indian attack, playing Knight G5, E5, E4, F4. This is, like, why can't I play chess like that? It's not fair.
You can, Danny. Just use this as
inspiration.
You can do it, Danny.
You can do it.
You got this.
Like, no, I can't.
Forget about your queenside piece development. All you got to do is go for the attack here. This is,
I pulled up
some
Shimanov's
Alpha
game.
Zero stuff going on.
Shimanov is taking on a Tulloch, and it actually is a crazy one. Looks like it was actually a Trumpowski, if I had to guess quickly, not knowing the opening. But I also played dubious openings for many years in my career, and I can quickly recognize one when I see one. So this was a Trumpowski, and or a weird Verisov or London. Okay, well, we've got Shimanov's game up, Crypto Chess. I'm not really into it as much as you are. That's a truth. So let's stay with Magnus as he launches this overly aggressive kingside attack here for a minute.
Okay. So he's not even gonna castle, but I guess he doesn't. Oh, sorry, I was a little bit behind on the Shimanov game.
Oh, I've already moved on to the back to Magnus, but we can go anywhere. Where do we want to go?
No, I'm good. I'm looking at the Magnus game now.
H6, so the knight's going to come back, and I look at this position wondering, there's no way that Azarov is going to castle long, is he? Maybe he's going to castle long to avoid the Magnus assault that is yet to ensue.
He'll kick out it makes sense, kicking out his knight first and then considering castling long.
And I think that's why he played A6. I think he's actually going to hold the B5 square from tempo, everybody. He's trying to at least, keep the options here, right? He wants to make sure he doesn't let Magnus know where that king's going to be, because Magnus kind of gets tunnel vision when it comes to checkmate attacks, so he's going to be careful there.
Okay, well, so it seems like he's not set on castling. If he is going to castle kingside here, he's going to have to attack on the queen side with stuff like B5 and B4.
He played H5, and after
he's just opening up both sides.
Well, I think that tells us for sure that he is going to castle long. Actually, I think H3 preparing. I think at some point he's going to want to try to put the king on the queen side, because castling short at this point, when you've already moved H5, you'd have to deal with F5 and all the ways that white can quickly pry open the black king side. I think that he sort of tipped his hand, but I don't know that means it's a bad thing. I think that. I think black is actually okay here. So, all right, let's check on that in a second. Let's move over once again to one of the top boards from the surfers, given that they are leading the way currently.
All right.
For the Super Saturday, I'm trying to find Alexei Dreyev's game right now.
Cool. I'll open it as well. Alexei Dreyev, wasn't he? I thought Dreyev qualified for the candidates back in the day.
Yeah, Dreyev's pretty good at chess.
He's a long-term chess professional.
I've got Gusianov taking on Ralph Mamedyarov, so another great one that we can keep our eye on.
Looks like we're
so many places to go here.
Okay, this is a good game to look at.
Gusianov taking on Mamedyarov. This is a weird one, actually. White's going to play F4, and
White's going to play F4, and then how are they going to continue the attack?
F4 and F5, maybe just go all
F4 and
in. You've
F5.
got this.
It feels a bit weird to play F4 and F5 when your rook is not on F1 and you're stealing that square with your bishop here.
I was just doing some puzzles though with the Blackburn kind of crazy mate on the dark squares. So whenever I see the queen and bishop sort of, developing a long distance relationship on G7 here, that makes me think we've got some potential for some crazy tactics here pretty soon.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Someone is saying that Tang is trying to trap a queen again. I'll take a look at that game and I'll let you keep on the
I'll move
game.
I'll move on to the Tang game as well. This one, but okay, pieces were traded, so things are getting weird. But let's go find the Penguin GM and bring him up. I agree. We haven't looked at Tang. I can't go too long without my Tang. Both the beverage and the player.
All right.
Where is he? Where are you, Tang?
There we go. He's playing GM Ori Kobo from Israel.
Classic Tang.
Although Ori doesn't have a team icon next to his name. But it is funny because Ori's queen is once again stuck on the A file. Oh, people are asking for Magnus again. We're switching a little bit quickly. Maybe we could just go back to the Magnus game and
all right, yeah, we're there.
Penguin fans, they can go. Yeah, okay.
Penguin fans can find him. All right, so what is it about Magnus they like? They like that the attack is getting going.
I think they like that it's Magnus.
That is true.
They just always want the Magnus. But okay, yes,
Marsha, Magnus. They like Magnus for Magnus.
They do.
Is the H file going to be a problem here?
I'm guessing he can play something like King G2 and Rook H1.
Well, Rook D2 okay. Maybe also. Well, he's going to do both, right? He's going to try to defend D4 while constantly spying on even if it's a bluff, to sort of switch gears quickly and jump to the king side. But I don't know that this is... Okay, wow, G5 is a super undermining move, everybody. The tactic that Azarov is trying to get is if F takes G5, bishop takes E5, and this pawn is pinned. But I wonder if he missed bishop H7 check at the end of that line, followed by bananas happening over here on the H file. So that could be... Oh. So Magnus plays F5. I wonder if he should have just taken that pawn.
Yeah, taking the pawn looked tempting.
I guess this also works. You're saying if you're going to take E5, I've also got queen takes G5 check, which is likely a problem for Black.
I know G5 didn't look like a good move. I'm not sure why... What Sergey was thinking.
Positionally, right? You love the idea of opening up the dark squares so that your bishop can be better than the white counterpart. But
can Black take on E5? No, he can't take on E5. Queen takes G5, bishop G7, and then F6 looks brutal. Okay, we don't want that.
Yep.
I don't know. If I was Black, I feel like I would have just tried to keep pressure on the C file in D4 instead of opening my king side even more. But here we are.
Here we are, right? Well, here comes F6, and I think that
F6,
I get a feeling that something terrible is about to happen to Azarov. It's horrible.
Yes.
That
what does he have to play bishop H6? That's not going to work. He's going to get his bishop attacked. So G5 is definitely hanging. Are there any tactics with rook takes D4? That has to be what Sergey is going to try. No, bishop H6.
Okay, bishop H6. He defends the D pawn, but without any threats for Black on D4. You're just a moment away from there being mate problems over here on the H file. So,
but it's hard because if the queen moves on the H file, or if any piece moves on the H file, then D4 falls too, and Sergey has.
You know what the other threat is for White? I was just going to say moving the bishop and playing queen E4. Yeah, Magnus. Beautiful. I was going to say it before he played it. I swear. I
believe
this time.
You, Danny.
Yeah.
I believe you.
No, he played bishop B1, and now the battery's unstoppable because I was obsessed with the H file. I was H file obsessed, and then all of a sudden you realize a simple move makes this battery just... Honestly, Black could probably resign here.
What's happening after queen D3? Yeah, this looks scary.
Yeah, here he comes. We'll stay right here until Magnus finishes it off. I know that's what the fans want.
Black is running away a little bit. He's trying to get his king on the other side. It feels kind of like a desperate times call for desperate measures type situation.
Yeah, you put your running shoes on when the house is burning, right?
You do.
Time to get out of Dodge, as they say. But
exactly.
So Magnus has he has his choice here though, because I think maybe you're worried about the discovery, but crazy idea. Queen h3 might be winning anyway, because if rook takes d4, I
take with check?
No,
yes.
Yeah, exactly. I take with check. By the way,
Danny, this time you said it before he moved it, so you
did he
properly get the credit.
Did
yes,
he do it?
He
he did it.
H3,
Sweet.
Rook takes d4.
Okay, but the other move, by the way, was that it didn't work there. I was wrong. I thought you could come back to e3 and also consider a pin, but I forgot g4 was falling with check. So anyway, this is good enough, and Magnus he found the move that I recommended. Magnus, he's always listening. He's really coachable.
Danny,
that kid.
You're really half of the success
I've really
He's
brought the
tuning
A game this time. Yeah, I agree. No, totally kidding. Magnus is about to put this one away, and he will be moving to 3-0 on the day.
Nice.
Because he's already. If you're just joining us, everybody, Magnus Carlsen won his first round game due to a gift from Minnesota Blizzard free agent Grandmaster Flores. And then he took Mamedyarov out in weird Magnus fashion where I don't even remember what happened, but somehow he won his black.
And this is going to be won by a more clean attack.
Yeah.
It's like he played a crazy opening with knight g5 really early on in a King's Indian style attack from white. So this was a really fun game to watch.
Checking out the chat. Thanks to everybody who's here, all of our Twitch subscribers, all of our premium members. Thank you for your support. With you, all things are possible, and we love it. Thanks to all of our viewers who maybe are tuning into the Pro Chess League for the first time. This is where the party's at. Magnus wins by resignation. Let's move on to Andrew, because he's under time pressure, and the question is, why? We know Tang is fast. So whenever I see time pressure, I assume that something is not going Tang's way. Maybe he's just that confident, like Eric, right? A bit of an adrenaline junkie?
Maybe a little bit. Okay. So we're looking at his position. I'm looking at Andrew Tang's position. He's not under time pressure just yet. He's just under 3 minutes.
Under 3 minutes, I guess.
Under 3 minutes. That seems pretty tame for the
famous
bullet player here.
Yeah.
I'm becoming a Penguin GM fan the more I see his games. So
it's hard. It's hard not to be a fan of Andrew. Yeah. Honestly, he's a stud.
No, that's fair. That's
fair. Okay. Well, there's a lot of other games still going. Everybody, like we said, if you're just joining us, there are dozens of 2700 on 2700 crimes going on in the Chess.com live server right now. If you go, we got Borovsky's taking on Iturizaga. I don't know where to go. I don't know which one of these games is the most exciting. I'm trying to scroll through right now and see.
Right.
Soria is taking on Jan Elvis. That's an interesting one. Danya Naroditsky, somebody who we started out covering and struggled last round, but he's also still playing.
He is still playing. His position has some tactical stuff going on.
Let's go to the game, one we haven't covered yet and even thought about covering because, there's just so much to cover. But let's check out International Master, Daniel Gurevich, who's also been a star for the Blizzard this year. They are currently sitting with 5.5 points, which means they're currently in the winners column. Everybody, as far as the Super Saturday goes, you get all this Grandmaster on Grandmaster game. Whoever's team has the most points at the end, that's the column they're going to fit into. That's the quick and dirty way to explain what's going on here.
Got it. Okay.
But Gurevich is on a roll again. He wins a lot of chess games. That kid. That's the thing that he does. He's
Gurevich. Yeah.
He's up the exchange. I guess the problem for Black is that the position is opening up. When you have a rook versus the minors, everybody, all you want is open files for those towers to show their power. And I don't think Black
like that's what's happening.
Yeah, I think White's just winning here. Here, Black is going to have to deal with the trade on b5 and c4, as well as the trade on e5 and d6, and likely the c file becomes open, and White's just going to go on to convert this endgame up the exchange. I think. That's my premonition. We'll see. All right, well, Magnus Carlsen just won his third game in a row for those just joining us, but we have so many other games going. Let's check in with the Lexi who is sexy. Let's check in on Bador-Jabava.
All right.
He's taking on Grandmaster Iturizaga. And Jabava is black and has an open king against the bishop pair. But
right. Turizak, I believe he's the only GM Venezuela has ever had. So some pride for him to be watching this game. Anybody watching from Venezuela, that would be really cool.
Yeah, it is the Olympic season, so
it is.
National pride is
exactly
good time of the year. Though I'm not sure whether the Winter Games are very popular in Venezuela. I don't know.
It seems like
I feel like if you're not from Norway, or the Netherlands
or Canada, hold up.
Okay,
Daniel.
All right. Well, I feel like if you're not from Norway, you don't win gold though. I don't know why. That's just how it seemed. No. All right, Queen B6 is played. I think that Iturizaga's position is deceptively dangerous for Jubav, everybody, because if this bishop falls back to C2, I was just going to say my idea was to move the pawn so that I could unleash the other bishop and get a party going on the diagonals. But what does Jubava have in mind here with D4? What's he doing that I don't see? After takes, is he going to play knight E2 check and just trade back, or there's something else I'm missing if takes?
Maybe he's trying to play something like Queen E2, Queen D1, but that's not going to be possible after Bishop C2.
No, I think I like it. I think you're right. I think Queen E2
Bishop F5
is the big problem. So that's why
that's his counterplay here.
Right. So this knight against the white king is a serious issue for Iturizaga, preventing him from just going all out against the black king. I still somehow feel like white should be just fine. What if I take G3 and take F5 and maybe I don't win, but I'd be okay.
Everything?
Yeah, what if I just take everything as white?
Well, if you take on G3 and on F5, black will take back, H takes G3, queen takes F5, and threaten mate on B1. So you have to be a little bit careful of that.
Yeah, good point. I'm highlighting that on the analysis board for our fans. You are right, Alexandra. That would have been a problem. So instead, after E takes D4, Queen E2 is played, but what's the threat? Oh,
there we go. He is going for Queen
for the
E2.
same. No, your idea was correct. Now I think white has to take F5 with check to avoid the mating net.
And then after bishop takes F5, can black just play bishop G7, king G7? I don't see.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah,
that.
Bishop takes, bishop F5. If black just slides over,
king G7,
there's no way to deal with the mate.
What about queen B3? Oh no,
because there's queen F2 check and then queen F1, right? It's This could be one of the most brilliant games we've seen so far. Look at that. He just sacrifices the piece. He did it, everybody. He just put the king on G7. This is a brilliant game right now.
This is how can white save it here? What about bishop takes? No. And I'm trying to find a way to save it and I don't see anything.
I don't know. No, I think this was a brilliant combination. Honestly, Jubava, everybody, or Alexandra, you gets the credit. You spotted this idea of Queen E2, but I think the more we looked at it, the more we realized just how dangerous it was that you could give up a whole piece with check, put the king on G7, and Bob's your uncle. Iturizaga can't stop the mate. Immediate threats of Queen F1 and Queen D1, but even a simple recapture makes the threat of mate on the back rank impossible. Game of the day so far, in my book. I know everyone loves Magnus when he gets wins, but this is game of the day so far in my book.
Yeah, this was very nicely played.
Okay, well, I don't want to go anywhere because it's like when you know what's coming, but you still want to see it happen.
Yeah. Okay,
well, now
Queen
D1 check is mate. Queen D1 check. Yeah, he finds it, and it's game over. Red Rover. Send board one from the snowballs right over.
Wow.
Jubava has been phenomenal in this format every time he plays, and he's great at rapid, as we know, great attacking player. So that was dirty.
I really enjoyed this game. Yep, I think it's my favorite so far as well.
All right, there's a million games.
At an exciting
there's
time.
A whole bunch of games to go to. I don't even know where to take the next beautiful part of this program.
Maybe we should look at a game we haven't seen yet.
Okay, we haven't looked at Naroditsky's game this round, and there's some time pressure setting in.
All right, let's look at it then. Okay, Naroditsky up an exchange.
I'm going to keep the analysis board on this one, guys, because it's in the endgame, but I see that Andrew Tang is also under a hole, or him and his opponent about to go to a minute. So the main board now is showing the game between Andrew Tang, where he's currently down the exchange. It's not the normal exchange you think of like a rook for a minor, but black has a queen for the rook and bishop. So Ori Kobo is probably in no danger of losing this position, everybody, given that black could take a perpetual if he wanted to, just play tickle with the queen if he's into that.
Yeah. Does White have a chance to try and just collect Black's pawns here, or
Well,
he's
I
just
think
staying
if Tang
defensive?
somehow thinks he's playing for a win, which I wouldn't put it past
I
Andrew.
wouldn't be surprised.
He would play King H3 here, and there is no obvious. Okay, for example, I'll do the line. If Queen check, let's just say
Sure.
Queen F5, King over, and Queen check.
King H3.
He does
Andrew
it?
Tang,
Okay.
Penguin GM going for a win here, or maybe.
Well,
Yeah,
he doesn't want to settle on the draw at the very least. Whether he's playing for a win, really, I don't know. But if he had just gone back, everybody, there was nothing he could do against the game of Tickle.
Andrew Tang is kind of like the anti-Geary. He's
the anti-Geary.
The anti-Geary, always going for wins.
Always going for wins. I think Anish gets a bad rap, but we love him. No, I agree. He does draw a lot.
I'm kidding.
No, but this format makes it really you want to play on, right? Why settle on the draw, right? There's a chance that you can flag your opponent. So, that's chess at its best, right?
Let's see some dirty flagging.
Yeah, classlessly flagging your opponent is what chess is all about.
But there is a 2-second increment, so you can't really do it.
That's a shame. You're right. All right, but he's going to play King G3, and I think Black has found a way to get the draw, Alexandra, because I highlighted the point that if the Queen came to G5, there would be Bishop G4. But I think if the Queen just goes to E5, there's no real way for this King to safely get out of the checks.
But it's marvelous that the side with the Queen is the one going for
perpetual
here.
I was just going to say, but the only other way was to play Bishop G4, and I came back to the live position and saw that Andrew did it. By the way, it looks like the game that's currently on the analysis board, Danya Naroditsky, is better at the exchange, but with only 12 seconds. If you want to follow that one, that's what we're covering on the analysis board.
All right.
Tang might get himself in the kind of trouble that makes you lose sleep at night, because if he's not careful now with that rook on a dark square, Alexandra, and this king on you're in danger of some sort of check where this queen, where she picks up a piece, and like now, I mean, Black could take H2, and I don't think White's getting anything.
Yeah, it seems like maybe he might have overpushed a little bit too much and gotten himself in a very tricky position here.
Still not too late, likely, to just go back and forth, though. Maybe just King G3 and maybe
but now he's dropping D5. He's dropping D5.
I forgot.
So now the tables have turned.
Yeah, Andrew let this one, he let his ambition in this one maybe get the best of him.
Well, fun for viewers, rough for Andrew's mentality in the next coming games.
Although if we take a look at the scoreboard again, everybody, you can see that the Blizzard, they need this win, right? San Diego, I mean, we have got to get on covering San Diego. I'm going to be prepared along with you to follow Alexei Dreyev, their board 1, starting in the next game. But okay, let's stay right here.
Okay.
Now on both the analysis and the main game. No. Andrew almost just lost on time.
A3, all the pawns are dropping, Danny. Why are all the pawns dropping?
This is what the queen does. This is why This is why the queen is favored over the rook and bishop. A lot easier for a powerful queen to do what she's doing than it is for the rook and bishop to coordinate. And this is the risk of.
Yes, it is. Oh no.
Oh, Queen C1 wins the rook, and he found it. It's over. Boom, everybody. King F1 was the final blunder right here. Really, really harsh. I was showing the scoreboard, but right here. If you didn't play King F1, there's still some chances you could get the rook in and try to get some checks, but Tang blunders it away right there.
I guess the Geary method would have worked better
in this
game.
That's what Geary would argue. That's why he draws games, because he doesn't like losing chess games. So that's an interesting thing to think about, right? All right.
Yes.
All right, where do we go? Naroditsky, still playing that game that I went to and turned away from. He's up pawn, but is it enough to win? He's got only 6 seconds. He's going to play king to G7. Ooh. I'm going to keep the scoreboard on even as we follow this one. I think he almost. Okay, I feel like the knight wins this game just from the practical perspective that it's the Pro Chess League and they're under time pressure and the knight is so tricky. But
yeah.
But can the goal,
Black
everybody
has to take a lot more time here to make sure he doesn't mess it up. Oh, beautiful! He's going for knight G.
Well, I was just going to show them on the analysis board. The goal, everybody, if you're trying to learn how do you win these endgames, you try to get the knight to a diagonal where it blocks the bishop from the square where he's planning on sacrificing. Right. So I don't know that White can really do it by force, but with time pressure, maybe Black blunders. The point is...
Yeah, but now Black can just go from E8 to H5, right?
Back and forth. And the only way to really get it out is to find some sort of trick. You would want to get the knight maybe to a square that guards the pawn so the king can get in. That's an idea. Okay.
At least Daniel's not worried about flagging in the worst case.
With the increment, and you know what he's partly doing right now, everybody? He's just playing...
But even with the increment, it would be a draw.
And that's why he's moving so fast. He's just trying to gain time back on the clock so that he doesn't...
Okay.
Okay, this is what I was waiting for, is a critical moment like this.
Tricky. Oh,
so
okay, I'm getting eagerly excited before I should be.
No, but that's what's going to happen. Is at some point, what White wants to do is create a sort of surprising zugzwang where the knight is guarding squares and the king is, yet somehow the king isn't just gobbling the pawn. And it's, again, probably can't be done with best play, but it's time pressure and maybe black blunders.
Yeah, I mean, in rapid chess, this is what you go for, even if it's a classical draw. You're still trying to trick your opponent.
The other square that you'd want to reach, and I'm surprised he didn't go for that. Look at the analysis board, everybody. Is if you can reach knight h7 and then get your king to e7 with tempo, the king is much better on e7 if you're white because it's got opposition against the black king, and that might help if you can trick the bishop away from the diagonal. Again, I don't think it's going to be possible, so I'm just sort of using my imagination as to how white might win, but that is also an idea. How to do it. Naroditsky is in danger of getting the position 3 times now, Alexandra, because he's moved the knight. He's
repeated the position a lot. Vitel's probably like clicking on the draw position again repeatedly to see if it's been threefold yet.
Okay, he's almost there. King h6. He's got to go back to king g7 at some point with tempo when that king can't defend the bishop. And again, there's just no... I mean, honestly, who gets a ton of credit here is Borovsky. I mean, he's just defended this position that is not easy to do with very little time on the clock. So, as much as I guess you and I are biasly rooting for Naroditsky to swindle him, just for the entertainment value, by the way, not because we're playing favorites, but Borovsky has honestly showed.
Yeah, he's played this really well, and he has enough time now to keep the position.
And it's one of the other reasons why the Estonia horses are also amongst the leaders.
And
everybody.
It's drawn. All right, well deserved on Borovsky.
Oh, I spoke too soon. Estonia was amongst the leaders heading into this last round, Alexandra, but then they just had a really rough round. As the next games kick off, everybody, we'll get to them in just a sec. I want to show all of you really keeping close tabs on your Pro Chess League fantasy team, which for those of you tuning in for the first time, yes, fantasy chess leagues are a thing, and you should join. Look at the scores there.
The best thing since fantasy football.
That's right. Magnus Carlsen is on 3 of 3 for the day. And he's helping his gnomes work their way back from the loss column, which is where they started, everybody. Now Norway is in second place on the day behind San Diego. You can see some other big names there in the scoreboard.
Alexander Shimanov also has 3 out of 3.
Shimanov also has 3 out of 3.
He also has 3 out of 3 for the Webster Windmills.
Yep, and on board 4 for the Minnesota Blizzard. This shows you why they're such a well-balanced team. The only other 3-pointer I can see on the day, I guess Brandon Clark is also on 3 of 3 for Australia. But look at Daniel Gurovich with 3 points for board 4, and that's a big deal. So, all right, games are starting. The next round has begun. No rest for the commentators.
Of course not.
We've got Grandmaster Sam Sevian, but also Grandmaster Alexei Dreyev, who is board 1 really for the San Diego Surfers, who are on 10 points right now. They are smoking it. So
wow.
So we're gonna cover San Diego's games this round maybe a little more closely.
Yeah, we've been saying that, so I guess we can actually follow up a bit more.
Yeah, I've got Suat Otelix taking on Alexei Dreyev. Mosquito versus Surfer. I'm not sure who wins that battle in real life, but I'd probably take the Mosquito, honestly.
You take the Mosquito, okay.
All right, but where to go? Obviously, the fans want to see Magnus Carlsen. He's not playing just yet. Hold your horses. Calm down.
We will get to him as soon as he's there.
Okay, Lexi Sexy taking on Shimanov. We talked about people on 3 of 3, and Shimanov is going to have that tested this round, Alexandra, because he is taking on the one and only Badur Jabava. So we've got that game pulled up.
Badur Jabava is starting with B3. Is this what he normally plays, or is he mixing it up?
Oh no, this is a Jabava special. This is
Jabava special. Okay.
The Jabava special is B3.
Got it. All right.
I think. Yeah, pretty sure I'm right about that. Pretty sure I need to shift around in my chair a little bit. We literally have had 0 downtime. This is so much fun. I feel like this faster time control leaves us a little out of breath moving from one game to another.
It leaves us out of breath. I can only imagine the players. They're sweating.
We don't need to feel bad for the players right now, okay? We have the microphone and they don't. So, all right, Magnus Carlsen is underway. The fans are happy. Right. We will be following him as he takes on Mr. Yevgeny Miroshenko with the black pieces. Speaking of a b3 special, look at Magnus's move 1, b5, just to show everybody how we got here.
What is he doing?
Love it. Love it,
Magnus is just having fun. He's having a good time. He has 3 out of 3. He's playing whatever he wants. This is the second game where he leaves one side of his board completely underdeveloped and just attacks on the other end.
Yeah,
he's switching it up. Last time he attacked on the king side. This time he's attacking on the queen side. He wants to show us he has skills everywhere.
Magnus has a lot of fun because he wins a lot of chess games. It's one of those things, right? Like,
it's a lot more fun when you win.
Your T-ball coach tries to tell you it doesn't matter if you win, and then they passively aggressively tell their kid like exactly what it means to win. So I mean, everybody loves winning. All right, where else to go? We've got Magnus Carlsen with the black pieces here. This is going to be a dynamic one, and honestly, he could get put to the test here, mainly because this. I mean, bias aside to Magnus Carlsen, everybody, this is a better position for White. White has a better center. You've got pawns in the middle of the board. At some point, the threat of e5 opens up the bishop on d3, and it makes these types of games very dangerous for Black. So don't be surprised if this is a dynamic one where Magnus has to prove his worth. Okay, where else to go? We've got Grandmaster Yuneski Quesada, who I wanted to check on a little more of the Champions games as well, because they are also right there amongst the winners in third place.
Let's look at them as well.
So Quesada is White against Justin Tan. That'll be one that we keep our eye on.
Justin Tan. Okay, I'm finding him in here. There we go. Sometimes it's hard for me to find the boards when they don't use their real names.
That's okay when there's hundreds of games going.
I've learned Sexy Lexi by now because it's very catchy.
The people will forgive you.
That's the only one. Okay, fantastic.
All right, so this is a structure that's interesting, everybody, because the tension is all about who's going to blink first on e5 and d4.
Yes.
Okay, so if Black captures, White's going to repeat with a big center, and then you've got to deal with threats of e5 all the time. But at the same time, White doesn't really want to capture as long as it just opens up the d file and also this bishop over here on a7. So when you look at positions like this, you're going to see pieces being maneuvered by the players as they prepare for somebody to blink in the center and what's going to happen. That's why you see White playing ideas like knight f1, knight g3, knight f5. Black brings the knight to g6. Maybe he'll build up with the rooks in the center. So I guess trying to set the groundwork for what might happen.
It actually reminds me of when you look at computer analysis in this type of game, and the computer is always suggesting weird moves like king g3, rook b1, moves that are not opening anything and just preparing for it. So for once, I think this is a type of position where computer analysis actually makes sense for the average human. Yeah,
the computers are often weird chess, but in positions where they've actually maybe taught us things, right? About how to be more patient, because they realize there's nothing great to do, so just improve your position. And Magnus plays very much like computers, and that's why he's probably so good. We talk about the
speaking of Magnus,
should we talk about his game? Let's do it. Okay.
Let's go back to his game. I haven't looked in the
what in the world
chat,
happens
but I know
here?
People are excited to see there.
How did he already get? I got to bring up the analysis board. I'm sorry, I can't sit here and see how his position went from slightly dubious out of the opening to already better as Black.
Yes, he converted that way too quickly.
Knight b4.
Let's see what happened.
Okay, the bishop came back. He takes a4. That's like a positional no-no. Magnus. No, but then bishop g5. Bishop c6 and then queen a5. That I think White was honestly fine until this last move, queen a5, because isn't there a move like knight c2 on the board?
Yep, and he just played knight c2.
I swear I didn't see it. Wait. I guess Magnus's move. I swear I didn't see it.
Three in a row, Danny. Three in a row. Everybody is saying that they saw it.
This should get the fork. This should get the fork emojis going in the Twitch chat. Everybody, use your fork emojis and subscribe to our chess channel, because there's a fork. My favorite.
Okay.
This
is the second treat Magnus is getting today.
Yeah, he just got a gift. It was funny because I think we were right that it is a slightly dubious opening, and it's Magnus knows that he's just kind of blitzing around. But then White, I think, was fine. There was the A file was open. Everybody, this was probably the most obvious positional target on the board. White was doing well, and then I think queen A5 was just a straight up blunder by Black and by White, and Magnus took it. So,
Magnus can just play bishop e7. There's no need for him to open up the position, make it a bit more complicated. He's sitting on a nice fork. So, yeah, seems like a clean win for Magnus.
Well, everyone will want us to sit here. Magnus is one of those guys. Thank you, Bigfoot, for the sub. We appreciate it. Get access to all of our emojis, fans, and please support the chess channel and have some fun. I'm not going to sit here and watch Magnus convert this as much as that's what the fans want. I'd rather go to one that's a little more unbalanced.
Let's look at something a bit more unbalanced.
Okay. We have a lot of options in that way.
All right, I'm looking
Let's go back to Alexei Dreyev, who we keep promising we're going to give the surfers a little more love, given that they have the best score currently of all the teams on our Super Saturday. And here, I think that Dreyev is doing just fine again with the black pieces, because I look at this king and I say, Uncle Suat, where are you putting your leader? Where's White going to put this king for it to ever find safety?
That is a good question. It seems like he's going to have to play something like King F2 and pseudo castle with Rook E1, which is not the end of the world, really.
I like it. Pseudo castling. Is that like judo chop? Like, what is that? Pseudo castling?
Pseudo castling?
Yeah, no.
It sounds similar enough.
It sounds similar. Okay, if the king runs up to G3, honestly, it's still kind of safe. So maybe black isn't doing as well as I thought, but even with the king getting there, because the E-file and F-files are so open, just trading pieces, as black is now offering, is only going to open up more avenues for black and more problems for white. So this, again, looks like Dreyev is on the road to maybe leading the surfers to another good round. How's their board 2 doing? Maybe even more known than the Grandmaster Alexei Dreyev to this generation is the young Grandmaster, a young American Grandmaster, Sam Sevian.
Sam Sevian, yeah. We've
known
been
as
following a lot of his games.
Yeah, he's board 2 this week.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing up his game right now on both boards.
Fantastic. So we are actually showing San Diego a lot more love this round, covering them more often.
Yeah, why can't I find him? I'm just gonna.
Yeah, is Sam Sevian's username the same as his name?
No, it's Konovets.
Konovets. Okay. All right, fantastic.
Well, it's kind of a boring position, but one where I guess Sevian is fine. I've highlighted the structure and kind of the willingness, the need to be patient and maneuver your pieces around. You know what might happen there a few times today, and we're in another pawn structure where, but in this one, David Klein has the queen on f6 and the bishop on d7. Look for tactics on the king side, maybe for black. And here he takes d4. I expect either knight e6, Alexandra, or even knight f4 by black. And this is kind of a weird position, although
it is a weird position. But white has a lot of pieces around his king, so I'm not too worried about a king side attack here. There's too many pieces to defend, and white has a really powerful center here. Yeah,
and a small little threat after taking. I highlighted that the c7 pawn is the queen spies with her little eye something on c7, so black has to be a little careful.
Yes.
Okay, well, if you look at the standings, everybody, and again, if you're just joining us, this is the Pro Chess League Super Saturday. Thank you for being here. Magnus Carlsen currently leading his Norway Gnomes back from the doldrums to the top of the standings. He already won this round, by the way, I believe.
Good. So he has 4-0 right now?
Yeah, he's just doing what he does.
He's riding the wins. He's riding
the wins, riding the gnome hats. All right, well, Sam did go gobble that pawn, and I agree. A pawn is a pawn. Yasser would be proud.
Exactly. Now maybe rook d3.
Rook d3, even rook d2, right? Just sit on the position. I don't know that.
That's true. He can play rook d2. There's no need for rook d3.
Well, the Gnomes are still behind San Diego in regards to which team is crushing it today. We give individual cash prizes on these special events, everybody. So these teams are competing overall for their position right now as the Pro Chess League heads into the playoffs. But they're also competing for cash prizes specific to this day. So,
what are the cash prizes for today, Danny?
That's a good question. I actually think that it's. I think first place. I don't know. I don't want to be puzzled on air. But let's just say that it's money that Magnus needs. Okay, we know Magnus needs the money. Okay, if there's anything we know about Magnus, is chess players don't get paid enough. So.
Only one exception.
One exception, and it might be him. But all right, let's go. Let's go check out Jabava's game. It's been too long since we had Lexi Sexy on the screen. And he's white, and he's once again better, and this time it's less tactical, maybe more positional, with the a6 pawn being the...
It's somewhat tactical. It seems like maybe he'll be able to do something sneaky on the king side. No, probably not.
Well, rook d3 guards the pawn, but I guess the main reason I first said I like white is because this pawn jumps out at you as well as this pawn on e7 as much bigger problems than anything white has, but then black played rook b8 and maybe told me I was wrong because b3 is also a target and Jabava has to defend it. Okay, rook c5.
Rook c5.
Interesting to note, this is like a Borovsky bind structure, Alexandra, with the knight on d5, but there's no pawn on e4. And the reason I note that is because it actually makes moves like rook e3 at some point possible. You wonder, so one of the reasons you strive to target this e-pawn in the Borovsky bind is because if you can ever get it to push, the d6 pawn is instantly a huge weakness, because whenever you're in a bind, you've already got this pressure right here.
But something like e4, rook e3, e5, if you take on d6 in this kind of position, just knight takes back, and it seems like black is okay. Do you think he should go for that kind of idea here?
Well, I think I was highlighting kind of the bigger picture goal, but I agree. I think right now black is okay, but I just wanted to point out that without this pawn on e4, watch for some tactics here. And as all these pieces get together, there may be a party on the dark squares, especially because this king is on f8. Yeah, shout out to Max V, MV. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. Make sure you spam us with Chess.com what. People love the Chess.com what emoji because it's Magnus Carlsen giving you that look like he disapproves of your move. So,
oh, man.
Shout out to Tarier. Just subscribe with Twitch Prime. Thank you for the love, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everybody, for supporting Chess.com for more exciting events like this one.
What are we going to do now? Where do we want to go?
Okay, did he just gobble a pawn?
Yeah, it looks like it was a freebie.
He just took it. Oh, man. So this would be Shimanov's first loss or draw if he manages to hold it so far today.
I moved the analysis board back to Sevian's game, but okay. let's we can stay here with Shimanov.
Sevian.
You know who we haven't checked on in a while in the fans? I'm surprised we haven't had more people yelling at us, but is the Chess Bras. Let's check out Amon Hambleton's game.
Let's do that.
Because his looks like it's one of the closest this round for them.
Okay,
we've got
he's playing FM Roman Yanchenko.
And he's better. We've already seen Amon have a very nice, clean finish, everybody, winning a game up the exchange earlier today. And it looks like he's a little better here as white. Why do we say that? Because we immediately see bad pawn weaknesses that white has an easy time ganging up on. And I'm not... I guess, okay, black has the b file. This isn't an easy victory, and Amon is down on time. But I like Amon's chances.
Black can get his rooks on the second file while white's attacking on the c file. Maybe he has some compensation. And you're right to point out, Amon is already in time pressure, so... I had a coach tell me that being down 2 minutes in blitz is kind of like being down a pawn. So,
yeah, I think the time usually it's a little different when you see players like Amon who are so used to playing fast, especially on our server. And as Dayblock's just reminded me in the Twitch chat that he is my daddy, I will say it on public. Amon Hambleton owned me last night.
Oh my gosh.
So, but nobody.
That is not something I expected to hear.
Nobody owns being owned like me. Okay, I'm owned 100% by Amon. So he's very good at bullet.
Eminem in his rap battle when he was preparing, and he just said all of the things his opponent was gonna say, and then the guy just got speechless. So you're kind of like the Slim Shady of chess.
Yeah, except that doesn't stop Amon from talking about bad things about me. No, but all right, no, Amon is on the grind here, and I think he'll be better here. Where else can we go? I'm looking at the scoreboard, trying to guess what games are getting under time pressure. Andrew Tang, once again, he's getting under time pressure. Alexandra, let's check it out. He's
okay.
He is black, currently much worse, actually, and down on time. Not Andrew's day today, honestly, if we are being so bold.
He's probably feeling a little bit bad after that win he pushed.
Yeah.
He's probably still recovering from that.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, I look at this position and just scream, how did this rook get on a6? This is a problem.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on
That
there.
rook has 99 problems, and a protected square is one of them. He's just about to, I think this rook on d3 moves, and there's some serious issues
here.
Yeah,
he wanted to be a double pawn.
And even if the rook goes to a4, everybody, there's moves like bishop b5, I'm assuming, and he does it instantly, and
this is painful to look at.
This is painful. So Tang is struggling, and with that, the Blizzard who started out well, have been sort of falling down in the standings, everybody. We'll see if they can recover. They do have one of the most well-balanced teams, but as you can see there, San Diego, native tongue for old wooden ship, is still crushing it. Let's go back to their board one. What's the man with the plan, Mr. Alexei Dreyev, doing here? I'm trying to get there.
Back.
He's got an advantage in the rook ending based on the fact that he's got a huge queenside majority, and actually, I think this just looks like an easy win, like Tolik's attack, or Tolik's open king. Alexandra, you were right. He was going to pseudo castle and bring it up the board. He did get the king to g5.
There we go.
But,
his king has been super active the entire game.
Yeah, but
he is not afraid to use it.
Not using it by choice though. So.
True.
In this case, I don't think the king is activity there is going to be the defining factor. Here Andreev can probably choose between taking. I think rook c2 makes a lot of sense to stop rook c1, but he doesn't want to move the rook from the f file because he's worried about rook f1 check, and then all of a sudden, now this king is justified. Right now, and then the king has justified his activity. So Andreev is pausing to figure out just how he wants to move forward here. Is he going to allow rook c1, or is he going to move the rook and allow something like rook f1 check? So I think that's the consideration. Okay, he plays b4, and he allows rook c1. I guess he clearly just calculated, so let's just buckle up and let the Grandmaster show us what he calculated. I assume it's b3, and then b2.
Yeah, Grandmasters will calculate this pretty well, since it's an endgame and they have enough time.
Grandmasters calculate from time to time. International masters, on the other hand, we just blunder. That's our thing. We just make bad moves, right?
No.
All right, king f4. Now, that was a key move, by the way, everybody, because it makes it so that when white takes on c6, white is no longer threatening to check because this king isn't on g5. So this little intermezzo, rook g2 check, that's Russian schoolboy technique by Alexei Andreev. And now he's in a great spot, Alexander, because he's not worried about the white king being on g5, and I think Andreev is doing great here.
Yeah, this seems he's just going to take on a4. He'll have two protected passed pawns. I mean, white might get a little bit of counterplay, but black is going to be a lot faster here.
We're going to keep the scoreboard up and just try to follow these games as they photo finish, everybody, because we're looking at standings, and we're not going to be able to have every game on screen. If you're just joining us, Twitch TV/chess or Chess.com TV, go to Chess.com/live and follow all the games yourself. But there's a million games under time pressure here, Alexandra. In fact, as Alexei Andreev converts this one, we got to go check on Andrew. Oh, commentator's curse. As soon as I went there, he resigned.
We knew it was painful.
We knew it was painful, but
we returned to the battlefield to take one last snapshot of what was going on there.
So Tang falls. The other game that's under serious time pressure that we looked at earlier is the one where Amon has less than 20 seconds, but he's...
Oh, let's look back at that.
But he's doing okay.
He has less than 20 seconds, but he also has 3 pieces on the c-file here. This is going to be great. Amon's probably sweating a little bit, but he can definitely pull this off.
Amon is a cool cucumber. Is that what they say? A cool cucumber or is it newcomer cucumber and cool customer? I don't know. But he's
what I like about Amon is that he plays a lot of similar openings that I do. So he actually coached me at one point for that purpose, and it was really helpful. So always fun for me to watch his games.
Yeah, the danger. I was going to say you got to go back if you're Amon. You don't want to allow black to do what he's trying to do, which is get rooks doubled on the 7th rank, everybody, and that's exactly what he has put the kibosh on by owning both of these open files. Now maybe he plays rook b7 and tries to go... Okay, I think rook b7 was actually better for Amon, trying to go for the 7th rank himself.
I don't know if he should have let black keep that protected pass pawn 2 rooks. I guess he didn't want to.
He has rook a5, and the question is, can he take d5 first? And that's what he's calculating right now with very few seconds on the clock. He decides he can't, and that's unfortunate because now
rook b1 and rook b2 can start causing some trouble as well.
That was a tricky move by black.
Rook b2.
That was a hugely tricky move by black there. He blocked white from taking and protecting f2, so that's going to allow black to have a draw, and I think he's just going to bail out.
He's just going to take the draw here?
I don't think he has anything else to play for. There's too many pawns for white and not enough rooks on the board, so I think... Okay, he's playing tickle.
He's trying to tickle Amon's time here.
But now Amon's considering coming back. Now, oh wow.
Ooh.
He's playing for a win.
Oh no.
Oh, he almost lost on time right there.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was close here. He made that move with 0.8 seconds, everybody, because you get 2 seconds back. So he's literally riding the edge of the increment road. He made that move with 1. Okay. This is where I'm too old for this. You know how they say, like, hey, if you have heart problems, don't ride this ride? That's like where I'm at right now. I'm getting too old
right
for
now.
watching games.
No, okay.
He almost made it. He almost got mated. He's
almost got mated. He almost flagged. He's getting the experience of a lifetime here. No.
0.1 seconds. He just made that move with 0.1
seconds,
and he's about to lose.
No.
I think that Black made the right practical decision that I didn't think was right, and now he's going to win. Oh my gosh. Wow. So, what a heartbreaking turnaround for Amon and the chess bras.
That is pretty upsetting.
That has just been, honestly, Alexandra, I've covered the team all season. They've been in my time slot, along with Robert Hess most of the time as my co-host. I'm telling you, they have just had some bad luck this year. And yes, they didn't have as strong of a team this year as they did last year. They lost Fabiano Caruana as a free agent to the St. Louis Archbishops. But the Chess Bros have just had some bad luck this year. I mean, Amon had no business losing this game, frankly.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking there for the Chess Bros.
Remember when I told you, though, being down that much on time is kind of like being down a pawn. It seems like sometimes it applies even to the higher level.
Yeah. Well, he's just losing now. Black's going to bring forward the double connected passers, everybody, and Amon is going to go down. So let's let this one be, sadly, because I don't want to miss the finish that could be happening right now between Lexi, Sexy, and Shimanov, because
let's go back to
there's two queens on the board.
There's 4 queens on the board.
4 queens. That's a little too much. This is like a Disney princess movie where there's way too many of them.
Oh my god.
I actually like Shimanov's position though, seriously, because the king is protected.
He's more protected from checks.
Right, and that's really all that's going to matter here. Here comes the queen of this diagonal. Watch, either queen h6 or queen g5, and Black is going to keep as many queens on the board as he can and take advantage of this white king here, everybody.
What are the chances one side blunders here with so many pieces and so little time? What would you give it, Danny?
Like literally an 85% chance that somebody blunders. Okay. I mean, seriously, there's no chance that somebody doesn't blunder here.
Okay.
In fact, already there was, I almost want to say that they just missed a blunder, and queen b5 check was winning for Black on the last move before the queen trade. But okay, he's working it anyway because Jabava is going to be both living off the increment and trying to stop checkmate ideas, which is, it's hard to do.
Yeah, he's trying to get a draw here. Well, that's nice. We thought Alexander might have lost this game when we were looking at it in the opening.
Yeah.
But it seems like he recovered this well. He has a perfect score. Let's see if
he's about to move to 4-0. Yeah, no, he is. He's on a roll right now.
Let's go, Alexander.
He lost on time.
Oh no.
He lost on time. It hurts.
I should have asked the odds for that.
No, there was you know how they have players wear heart rate monitors? They should have announcers wear heart rate monitors because I'm too old for this bleep.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if your heart rate is a little bit higher than everyone else.
I think it probably is. I'm too old for this bleep. This is That's crazy. Well, Shimanov remains on fire. We bring up the only other game currently still going in this round is Rufeng Li, who, as you said, is a free agent acquisition by the Gnomes. And he needs to win because the Gnomes did not have their best round, Alexandra. Yeah. Magnus won, but they need more points.
Got it. What's Rufeng Li's username?
It's a good question. It is Rufeng. Just Rufeng, his first name,
okay,
Rufeng.
Cool. Those are easy to find. It looks like.
Well, he still is in no danger of losing, and honestly, I think only Black could win if he wins this g3 pawn because it's going to split. It's a surprise. Okay, he does manage to get there, but if he trades kings, does he get what? Okay, no, he's not going to trade into a lost king and pawn ending. He's going to think about it and then not do it, like I do with most of the thoughts that travel through my head. I think about it and then I don't do it. That's my thing.
Yeah, he should just go for g3. Oh, no.
Now it's a draw.
Now it's a draw. Yeah, it's a clean draw here.
Okay, well, the Gnomes will get one more half point for their score. They'll move to 10 on the day. I mean, I'm assuming we're not about to see some sort of crazy loss here.
Which swindling in the last 30 seconds.
Right, which has everybody else also sort of...
I mean, part of me hopes for it because it's really fun to watch, but this seems like it should be a draw.
When you're secretly rooting for the crazy finish.
For the craziness. I mean,
that's the life of a chess commentator.
That's why we're watching Rapid Chess.
It is the life of, legitimately. Let's check in with chat while these two sit here play footsie for the next so or so
Danny,
minutes.
I have to run to the bathroom. This seems like a good time for a quick.
You know what? You
break.
should do that. You should do that.
Right.
And
I'll be right back. Wait,
right as you move. What happened? Okay, go for it. You go for it. You somehow lost the pawn. All right. There you go. Okay, well, with Alexandra gone, which she could have told me privately, and then I just would have moved her off camera. We'll work on those kinks later on. But okay, Alexandra's out, and somehow Rufang lost that pawn, and with it is actually risking losing this, which is could be very, very dangerous for the Gnomes in their standings today if he doesn't hold a draw here. I guess he should hold a draw. I was about to check in with nearly 17,000 of you on Twitch and Chess.com TV right before Alexandra said she was stepping away, so I'll just do that now. So many title players and Diamond members hanging out on the Chess TV chat. We love you all. Thank you for being here. All of our viewers, everybody, checking out the Twitch chat. You guys are awesome. Give us a sub. Get access to all of our fun emotes whenever you're watching a chess event, because I know most of you sit around all day and like, you know what I could really use? Some chess esports. I could really use watching some chess on Twitch right now. That's what you're thinking all the time. So, all right. What's going on here? Rufang has managed to get the king active enough that this should still be a draw. Check on F1, kick the king back, and then play tickle. Possibly. Okay. Again, still not in danger of losing as long as he maintains the king in a position where you're either guarding the pawn or threatening to come up. And that's what he's doing here. He's going back and forth. And at this point, everybody else is like, today, Junior, right? Let's draw this game and move on. But they want to play on. So I'm going to let them play tickle and catch in with the stats here, reminding you that in this game, going into the next round, anybody who picked Shimanov on their fantasy team was a smart person, because he is at 4 of 4, taking down the board 1 for the snowballs. Alexei Dreyev also at 4 of 4, a big reason why you see San Diego up there at the top, everybody. I got to go back. What happened? Somebody's going to win. I don't know how. As soon as I predict somebody will win, that'll be the jinx that makes the draw, Alexander. So I'm just going to say that somebody's going to blunder and somebody's going to win this game. I'm not even...
Wait, what happened?
It might have just been that.
I
what
just
happened
ran
was Anton Smirnov...
so that I could see this game.
Anton Smirnov has been working it with no diggity in this game. He's got to get credit for the fact that he's still pushing this position for a win, and now he's won the second pawn and is somehow winning... Rufang gets discredit, because if we go over to the analysis board, everybody, and I bring this game up, which I'm going to do, because I want to show an instructive moment from earlier.
Danny the chess coach, I like it.
Yeah, because why did this happen? I mean, I'm going like 100 moves back, but let's move back. And again,
yeah, please do. I want to see this as well.
No need to play F4. It was just a blunder because he thought he had to take it, but he didn't. He could play here. That was just a terrible move. The move F4, giving White. You never give them the chance for 2 connected passers. And then the other move that, even way back before, the reason why this is super heartbreaking for the Gnomes is because he had no business losing this endgame as they transitioned into the endgame. He was the one with the outside passer and the rook ending, and chances to go after G3, but he didn't take it. And I'm going back on the analysis board as you watch the live position here.
Oh,
all the way to here with the C
pawn.
pawn.
In the live position, White's king is really far behind his pawns.
Okay, forget it. I'm gonna go there, but no, it's a win.
Yeah, it is. I hoped for a second, because I know in some of those endgames, but it's only when White has up a pawn instead of being up 2 pawns.
So give credit to Australia, who they
how's
needed that
Australia
win.
Doing overall? Maybe we can check that after.
I'm looking in the standings, and they are right in the middle of the pack, currently standing with the Chess Bras in the sort of 500 position right now. But the biggest game of the next round, Alexandra, has got to be the
Dreyev and Magnus.
Dreyev and Magnus, both of them sitting at 4 of 4. And, okay, other games have already started. Obviously, you can see everybody. Amon Hamilton is already underway. I'm gonna close out of some of the other boards that we no longer need. Hamilton will be someone we keep our eye on. But the truth is, as soon as Magnus and Andreev get going, that's going to grab our attention in the next round for sure.
Yes.
Shout out to Amon Cage, who just subscribed to us on Twitter. Sorry, not on Twitter.
Amano Cage, yes.
Yeah. All right, where are we going? We've got the next set of games has started. I'm waiting. I guess I'm just kind of patiently waiting for Magnus, if I'm totally honest. All right, you've also got.
What other interesting pair-ups? Daniel Naroditsky is playing David Klein. That's
Shimanov is taking on Gadir Gusainov with black. So Shimanov also a big fantasy win for anybody who picked him at 404. So we started with Amon. We've got Shimanov, and Magnus Carlsen has just started his game against Alexei Dreyev, and he plays one knight h3. You have got to be kidding me. Like
they know that people are being entertained, and they want to give us more.
Is Magnus streaming today? I don't even know, because I think Magnus,
I feel like he's just chuckling next to his
he likes the attention that these moves bring.
Yeah.
And he's trying to play. Notice that Dreyev didn't take the bait. You know what he did?
Yeah.
Shout out to our last sub. Thank you, Anna Chess, for subscribing. You know what he did after knight h3, Alexandra? He played knight h6. So he's like, look, Magnus, if you're gonna play knight h3, like you're not. I'm from Russia. I'm from the old school, like the old school. Yes. I'm not gonna let you toy with me. So he goes right back at him.
Magnus playing a lot more risky now that his FIDE points aren't on the line. Easier to do this kind of stuff online.
Yeah. Magnus, look at that, e3, allowing knight takes f2 and the king. Here comes, just play e5. Come on, Dreyev, just play e5.
Castling. We've been seeing so much pseudo castling.
Oh, I wanted e5, and I wanted things to just get nasty and just see how crazy this game could get.
Oh, Danny, you're gonna be disappointed. This is probably gonna end up like a somewhat normal looking game.
No, Magnus is gonna do what Alexandra said. He's gonna bring the rook over and tuck the king into safety, and it's going to, if somebody came to the board and looked at it 10 moves later, they're not going to know at all how this thing started.
Yeah, it looks like a standard chess
Yeah, it looks like a
game
standard game.
13 moves, yeah, exactly.
Well,
king on f2, rook f1, king g1, bishop b2. Just going to get into a normal b3 style position. And he's been playing a lot of king's Indian attack type structures, and I see how this can kind of transpose into one of those.
No, that's a good point. And as we bring up the analysis board, we can talk to people about White's structural goals here, everybody. One of the big reasons why the pawn on f4 and the b3 followed by b2 bishop work well together is you get this sort of position where White naturally has control over all the dark squares, and the bishop on b2 working well with the dark square structure. He plays bishop d3. This starts to make you think of the double bishop sacrifice, the Lasker double bishop sacrifice, right? You've got two bishops on the diagonals, and just fantasizing about the idea that black castle's short and Magnus sacks both bishop for mate. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll see where this one goes. We've already checked on Hamilton, Shimanov, Magnus. Okay, we've also got, in this round, we have Mauricio Flores taking on Lexi Sexy, everybody.
All right.
So that's going to be another big one. A big round for the Blizzard, who want to stay near the top of the standings, but they've been slowly slipping with not the best performance today from their favorite Tang.
Is San Diego still leading the round so far? They were first last time.
No, they are. Not only that, the lead is getting bigger. Norway scuffled a little bit, especially when we saw Mr. Rufang Li lose that game to Anton Smirnov.
Right.
Webster's not far behind, but. And talk about a team that we haven't given enough love to, right? Webster, I think we've looked at one game of theirs, right?
They're the strongest university chess team, right? Back with Susan Polgar coaching them.
Yeah, and they do. They pretty much win the chess Final Four every year, fans. If this is somehow your first chess show,
they have 4 2700s. Or
so it's easy to win chess matches when you have 4 2700s. Is a good point. And there's no rating limits. I mean, we to have a league that's based on competitive balance and fairness, we try to set some rating caps so that you really have to look for that diamond in the rough, everybody, that underrated player. But there's no limits in college chess. So
yeah, that's fair. Also, I like that Magnus is breaking all the chess rules. He's not castling. He's taking his queen out early. I mean, he started with knight h3, so that's what we can expect from this game.
Talented players like Magnus Carlsen give chess coaches headaches because they do things that you're not supposed to do. And
that is true.
So, shout out to Kitty Kitty Hiss Hiss. Thank you for the sub.
Hi, Kitty Kitty Hiss Hiss.
We love Kitty Kitty.
Yes, we do.
And all right, well, here he does play rook f1, so he is going to complete the castle by hand, but still, Honestly, though, queen h5 is not a bad thing, even though we would normally be critical of the queen coming out early with my chess coach comment. But here, this
black doesn't have too many ways to kick out the
exactly,
queen, so it seems like okay.
You're kind of trying to get ready for the fact that you might go for a checkmate attack.
But can't black just castle queenside here? And he seems like he's okay. Although
I think he almost has to.
He's a little bit overextended on the queenside, so maybe that will cause some problem.
I think he pretty much has to castle queenside here, and
yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so we're waiting for Alexei to castle queenside here. What would be Magnus's plan after a castle queenside? Just to try and break over the queenside, the usual type of...
I'm looking at one of the logistical problems, as much as it seems like a simple thing. Shout out to George Cush, thank you for the sub, is that you can't castle without f7 falling, Alexandra. And you can't move the rook to f8 without h7 falling. And... So the reason Dreyev has gone into the think tank is he's probably considering whether he can play g6. Okay,
yeah, g6. Ooh.
So this is a nice move. This is aggressively.
Yeah.
But the problem is this. I bet Magnus is willing to part with that bishop if it opens up the c file, and then you bring a rook here to try to do some different things.
Yeah, open up the c file and then make Alexei a little bit nervous about castling on either side.
Right. Although on the other note, if Alexei eliminates that bishop, he's no longer getting checkmated on h7, so that's a plus. He could actually castle short and be okay, right?
That's true. That's true. Although a pawn on f4 and a queen on h5 with a rook maybe coming to f3 doesn't seem like the safest castle kingside here.
Well, he did what we thought he would. I mean, we had originally guessed he would be willing to part with the bishop, and he does just that. I think it's a smart idea because one of the things that Magnus does, I think, better than any... Okay, he gives up the pawn on a2.
All right.
He's going to be all in. I mean, he gave up the pawn.
He's going for a storm here. He's just going to try and open up the position, I'm guessing.
Was it a blunder by Magnus to play the move?
I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to get some developmental advantage here since black's a little bit uncomfortable about castling. If Magnus can quickly open up the center here, he's going to have a very aggressive attack.
I agree, and I brought up the analysis board though. Shout out to Chess King T. Thank you for the sub. I don't know that Magnus wouldn't want that move back. I mean, that pawn, like a thief in the knight. The knight grabbed it, and I don't know that he can't trade on c3 or go back to d3. And yes, I agree that certainly f5 is coming. There's going to be some compensation, but I think we're getting some gifted subs right now. Kitty Hiss Hiss just gifted Alexandra Botez, and I can see you in front of me, so I don't think you did that yourself. But
no, I didn't do it myself. But I'm a sub now, so
yeah. So there you go.
That's exciting.
All right, then yeah.
Thank you, Kitty Hiss Hiss.
I like Dreyev's position here if all things are equal. Unfortunately, when you play the #1 Norwegian, all things are not equal. But I don't know that I really buy white's pawn sack. And now if I'm Alexei, I'm taking on d3. Getting rid of as many attackers as I can because I want a pawn, and just trying to
trade off everything.
Trade off, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see if he can do it and not get under so much time pressure that Magnus can grind him later. All right, where else to go? We're going to keep our eye on this, everybody. We opened up a few other games we know that you wanted. Let's go to Mauricio Flores' game against Jumabayev.
All right, let's go to that game.
Thank you for the gifted sub, Chess King T, to Chess Gamer Tag.
Oh, hi, Chess Gamer Tag. Good to see you in the chat, Chess King T. Thanks for gifting.
All right, where are we at? We're on Mauricio Flores is white, and I like his position against Jumabayev. I tend to be biased toward winning pawns, and he did just gobble that.
I love just grabbing pawns. Yeah, it always feels a little bit guilty, like I'm gonna get the consequences later, but it's so tempting. Kind of like eating desserts, you know?
Yep.
Pawns are like desserts.
Yep.
All right, rook c8. So it seems like Jumabayev is just preparing to trade off some pawns on the queen side there and get his rooks a little bit more active. On the bright side, it seems like he might be able to win back a2 or b2 since his bishops and his rooks are all pointed towards there.
Thank you, Ben Hameen, for the sub there. All right. Yeah, this... Ooh, he plays a3. But is the queen getting in trouble? Jumabayev quickly shoots it back, h5. Kind of a dual-purpose move here, everybody. Yet maybe frees back rank problems, protects the g4 square. Okay, I don't quite know what's going on here. I see some fans already telling us to just go back to the game between Magnus and Andreev game.
Let's go back to the Magnus game.
All right, they are both on 4 of 4 in addition to the natural Magnus bias that exists. So,
so even if you have a little bit of bias, I know you're excited about this game, Danny.
Oh, this is crazy, and honestly,
this is the game.
Magnus
is one of the
just
most
went to
exciting games so far.
Magnus just went to full sack town. He's sacrificing a piece now. He already gave up the a2 pawn, but on c4 he takes, and Black can trade and gobble d3, and I'm not exactly sure where is the win for Magnus. What's the?
Yeah, Magnus is in Sac City, and I'm not sure if he has an escape route here. Although. It's Magnus. Let's see something, Magnus. Surprise us all.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, if I take on d5 and white takes back, and I win this piece, I don't see some sort of crushing tactic on it. Maybe there's something before I take on d5. Okay, if you take d5, I can play bishop takes c4, and now I'm skewering the knight to the f7 pawn. That's the idea.
Are you skewering it? Because you could play knight e7, and after queen takes f7, you run away.
Right, but I still think that's his idea. That's the piece sack that he's going for. Now he's at least got something a little more clear.
But look at the time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's part of chess, right? Is the practical aspect of the game.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say it's asymmetrical, but I was having trouble pronouncing it.
The
asymmetry of the time. There we go. I got it, Danny. Sometimes English is hard and chess is easier. All right, we're back on track.
Yeah, no, but he is symmetrical besides that he's down 6 minutes, right? And I think that, as we say, it's a practical game. That's why the game is played. If it was just a science of what the computers thought, we wouldn't still be playing it.
Yeah, but playing this position as Black and having to defend with 2 minutes
is going to be hard.
It's pretty difficult. So I can understand why Magnus is just going for some very tactical positions where he's going to push Alexei into having to think about it and maybe blundering or flagging again.
Agreed. All 17, nearly 18,000 of you right now. Thank you for being here. Everybody watching.
People. Thank you, guys.
Everybody watching. Shout out to Frank for the sub. Appreciate it. If you're just joining us, or if this is your first chess show by chance, it's the Pro Chess League. You can find out everything you need to know about it at ProChessLeague.com. You can see the standings right here. If you're into finding a favorite team, maybe you're from one of these cities, and now you have a favorite team. All right, well, this is going to be a finish where either Andreev defends like a maniac with no time, or he just goes down swinging, and Magnus did what he does. So.
Almost a bullet game for him, though. So, but you're right. That's the way it's gonna go from here. It's almost hard to switch and look at another game. It's just so exciting.
No, and let's stay with this line, because I really think that even though my first thought was Magnus was doing the sack almost because he was on tilt. I assume he's gonna take now on c4. Yeah, he does. Okay. So we were right. That's the idea. Queen takes f7 now.
You called it, Danny. This is, I think.
Well, I only called it because I looked at knight takes d5 and I was like, it makes no sense that white would be taking, and then so you sort of force yourself to find a better move.
Right. But how does Magnus continue after?
I think he takes f7 and then he plays moves like bishop a3 at some point and tries to bring. Okay, maybe not bishop a3 because knight takes c2, and I don't see a knockout, and this fork is a fork problem, and so.
Ooh,
C3, a little intermezzo. He's playing the long game on f7. He doesn't need to rush and take it, and I think that that's actually a huge move, because that idea we talked about with bishop a3, I think will be something we'll see. You just couldn't do it right away. If the knight goes back to c6, he'll take f7 with check, try to start bringing in more pieces into the attack, and the bigger problem for Black is not even that you see a mate for white, but that you have no time, and white can start just playing some sort of subtle moves. Yeah.
Even if white is not checkmating right away, Black has some time to bring in more pieces to attack, and Black's rooks are not really doing anything yet. So Andreev is going to have to defend very aggressively here.
Okay, Magnus continues on it. I can die a happy man that I guess just a few moves of Magnus's today. All right, Perfect. Queen d5. Okay, but he has to avoid trading queens. That's okay. Bishop d6,
Bishop d6.
But now bishop e7 is coming. Yeah, I actually think that Andreev is gonna get some pieces off the board, which is gonna help his chances. queen c5, and then bring the queen back to e3. Queen C5, that's what I'm guessing, because then he can flip back over here to g5 and keep the queens on the board. I'm guessing.
Alexei trying to trade those queens.
Even stronger. Queen b6.
Queen b6, that's great.
At some point, look for this f6 shot to be a real nightmare for black.
Yes.
You wonder if white should just play a move like king h1, Alexandra. Just get the king off the diagonal to avoid any sort of potential blunder tricks where you miss.
Well, he's just opening up the position as fast as he can. He needs to get his rook.
That's active. The difference between me and I try to avoid myself from beating myself. Magnus isn't worried about that. He just goes forward.
No, he's not.
Plays d4.
Knight d8. Okay.
Maybe not quite the Shimanov or the Jabava win so far with that really, really amazing checkmate idea you found, Alexandra, but this has been one of the better games today.
Yeah, this has been a very exciting game. With both players, of course, trolling a little bit in the opening, but now it's gotten very interesting.
He brings the queen back. How many pawns does he have for the piece? I didn't even do the math on that. I guess he's got a couple, so he's not outside of the reason what you want to recognize that, fans, is from your own game perspective. You want to be aware, like maybe there is a chance at some point that you allow the simplification if you could win a couple more pawns, and then you'd have 4 pawns versus the piece in the endgame. Okay, you want the attack, but maybe Magnus finds some way to win a pawn here, maybe win a pawn there, and convert on the endgame. Magnus
is playing moves like queen f2 that at first glance don't look like an attacking move, but he's obviously planning to open up the position here and maybe bring in his queen.
I like bishop d5.
Bishop d5.
Just to I don't know. I just want to confuse my opponent right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But okay, queen.
If this was a classical game, Alexei would probably be able to pull this off, right?
I think if it was a classical game, black is fine. I don't know that black is better because white does have control over the center, has 2 pawns for the piece. Thank you, Chess Addiction. No, thank you, Kitty Kitty Hess Hess and Chess Addiction for the sub. Thanks for the gift. All right, he plays b4. Oh, wow. So he's going to play b5. Now, what he's doing here, everybody, he's trying to make sure this king has nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide, because he doesn't see a clear win. So he's just going to make sure that he opens up as many files as he can, which is a great practical approach here.
That's true.
Now queen g3.
Queen g3.
I thought I'm threatening to take and take e5, but maybe I'm not.
Queen g3 looks interesting.
I was worried, but maybe he could take f6.
Rook a1 looked tempting at first, but I don't see what it's threatening to just.
No, I like that move. No, rook a1 is nice.
Rook a1, bishop takes c6, d takes e5,
right,
and
open up the
a7.
queen. I love it.
Yeah.
At least an idea that rook a1 even threatens d5 to kick the knight, right? As a means to get rid of the knight and open up threats over here.
What if he plays something like d takes e5 and then rook a1? No, not yet. Okay. Magnus surprised me.
Shout out to Blade Runner. Thank you for the sub. This is a good move as well, because now if the pawn comes to f7, he's protected. And you know what else he just patiently kind of did? Okay, there's my bishop d5. I wanted that.
There's your bishop d5.
What he did, though, is he patiently sort of opened up these files. So, Dreyev just blundered the piece back, and it's over.
No.
d5
this
is coming.
Not how I wanted it to end.
That
okay.
serves me right for trying to...
on d1? And try to play. Yeah, he could have taken on d1.
No, but here comes your idea. He overwhelms the knight, and it's just over. Moving the knight would allow queen a7 check, and the game would be over. So Magnus is going to win back his piece and still have decent attacking chances to go with it. So
there we go.
In the battle of players on 4 of 4, whoever had Magnus Carlsen in their fantasy team over Alexei Dreyev gets the win right now, and I'm
guessing most people.
I'm going to assume that most of you had Magnus over Dreyev, but to each his own. I wouldn't judge you either way, honestly.
Okay, wow, that was a beautiful game.
That was
it. You got the plan pretty well, Danny. That was impressive.
And for those of you who
you don't give yourself credit, so I will.
Those of you who just joined us, this is how this game started. Magnus played knight h3 on move 1, so just let that sit in for a minute, and we'll come back to it. All right, where does that put our scoreboard as we check in the game between Bador Jabava and Mauricio Flores? The Gnomes get that win. Oh, you could have both. That's interesting. So today you could actually, in theory, have both Dreyev and Magnus on your fantasy team, because normally the board ones are split And you wouldn't be able to have one that was playing the other, but because they're in different divisions, given that it's a special kind of Super Saturday, I don't want to go too far down the details here because most of you don't care. But anyway, if you play fantasy chess, today was an interesting day because you could have a number of board ones on the same team. So anyway, all right, Jubava is what? Jubava is Jubava. He's a little better, I think, just because black is positionally on the grind here against these two weaknesses. The knight is really, honestly, the knight could just sit tight right there. He's kind of good right there on the dark square, which makes this bishop a little bit impotent.
Yeah, it seems like Jubavo has an easier game here. Still very close, though. If he moves anything wrong, his king is exposed enough that it could go wrong very quickly.
Huh. Yeah, I like king g7, though. It feels like if black can find a way to wiggle in, you've also got potential ideas on the dark squares. Whenever you have this knight versus this bishop here, if you can make the play all about the color squares that isn't the bishop your opponent has, you can...
he's going to...
Now he's going to trade. Yeah, you're right. He's going
to trade. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Cut me off all day. That's what my co-host is here for.
Oh, okay. For a second, I thought knight g4. I was hallucinating. I didn't see h3. Okay. But we're back. Okay, he's going to trade queens.
And c4 is going to... But he has to be careful because C4. Flores has honestly defended this well because the threat is rook takes b6, and what Flores refused to do, everybody, if we move over and bring our analysis view back in, is a few moves ago, he refused to take on c5 and allow black to fix his b6 weakness so that he could just focus on white's problems over here. So that was an instructive moment for everybody on the analysis board here that Flores didn't just trade. Instead, he remaneuvered to try to make sure he had some time to target his own weakness before it got away from him. So I think that was big for Flores to do that. Although now we still like Jubava.
Yeah, at least what Flores seems to try to be doing here is a similar position we've seen earlier, where he's trying to take away all of the white king's escape squares.
It's giving me nightmares of the last time Jubava won, though. With the...
Oh, okay. Yeah, he is. Okay,
oh, wow.
He's trading off. And
look at this dark square domination, right?
Yeah.
All these squares combined with the fact that the knight owns the light squares.
Yeah.
It gives me an option to make a whole bunch of highlights, which I love.
Easily.
What? I think he just wins easily now because the king is just completely stuck. You could take it, but you don't want to allow king. Because knight d2 check. I didn't see it. Everybody, he was able to gobble the pawn and steal it in the knight because white couldn't bring the king up due to the fork. That fork saved the day. Let's get some fork emojis going here. Let's get some fork emotes.
Do we have fork emojis?
We do. We have fork hype now.
Okay.
Fork hype is my favorite thing. That fork just won Lexi Sexy that game, everybody, right here.
Jubava is doing very well. Has he lost any games so far?
The what?
Has Jubava lost any games so far?
Well, he just lost to Shimanov, remember, in the 4-queen scandal.
Right. Yeah,
the 4-queen scandal of Pro Chess League 2018.
Yeah. That was the game.
All right.
Okay.
Penguin GM did bounce back this round, everybody, and that's huge for the Blizzard. We've also still got a number of games going, but I'm going to focus on one that deserves our attention because the champions are also one of the better teams, and it looks like Quesada, oh no, he has to trade, which means black's getting a queen. He's going to lose.
Oh no.
It's commentator's curse. Yasser warned me about this.
But it always happens when it's so close to the end of the round. We're going to see a lot of brutal ending positions. Okay, well, Ori Kobo, with a great username, poor little greenie, he wins. He moves on, which helps his team move forward. Now, Norway had a big round, so they're right back up there at the top with San Diego, who seemed to have struggled partly because their board one, who was on 4-4, got paired with the world champion. So that, Yeah. That's rough for them.
Magnus happens. I think that's a bumper sticker. Magnus happens. So let's see what else we got.
Okay.
One game here that's still interesting is the one between Miroshchenko and Yangfan Zhao. Miroshchenko is better, but the knight is currently blockading the dark squares, and that actually looks...
Yangfan just offered a draw here.
Of course. He said,
of course.
No, thank you, said Miroshchenko. No. Can he just go king to b7 and go after the a7 pawn? What am I missing?
Maybe Yangfan offered him a draw to piss him off a little bit and waste some of his time.
he goes for it. Here comes king d6, though. I was just going to say, is that the idea? He's going to give up the pawn, everybody. If white had taken, black had king c7 blocking the king in, and it's like a forced stalemate. So black is giving the a7 pawn due to this idea of king c7. I can bring up the analysis board here to show everybody exactly why that's a key deal. But the main point is that if white takes, okay, but now he's moved the knight, he can maybe take a7. I bet he's calculating it. If takes a7, the point is you can't play king c7 anymore because d6 check. So renegade pawn. And he goes for it. He sacrifices the piece.
Oh, he takes the bishop first.
But no, he's going to move. He's going to win now. That was the idea that I was hoping for, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
He finds it.
That was a really nice endgame. That was a really nice endgame by Yevgeny.
Yeah, it was a nice defensive idea, everybody, here by black, to show the point was that if white had tried to take, there would have been that blockade on the dark squares. I don't have time to show you. You get it. Doesn't matter. All that matters is we just had an exciting finish. So.
Exactly. Do we have anybody still playing in this round?
I don't think so.
We don't think so. Wow, it's over already.
That brings us to the next round, which means we're about to see a whole bunch of games get going. So as we said, Mamedyarov did get the win. Magnus Carlsen already won. You all know that. Shimanov drew Gusyanov. We missed that one. Unfortunately, our boy Amon Hamilton from the Chess Bros fell. Ray Robson, we started to cover the Webster team and then went away, but Ray Robson suffered a loss, which is had Webster not move as far up in the standings as they would have liked. Nicholas Rosenthal pulled the upset, beating the international master from the Trolls, Mr. Stokey. I think I'm saying that right. But almost 20,000 of you watching currently at Twitch TV/chess and Chess.com TV. The games have not started. They are not underway just yet for the next round, which gives me 1 second to tell everybody about a special announcement coming out Monday. You will get the big news, but I'm going to break it to him right now, Alexandra.
I'm getting the big news too.
No, you know the big news. The Pro Chess League finals will take place in San Francisco. It will be the world's first ever chess esports event, if that's what you call it, when you put people in a live setting and a bunch of fans screaming in the same room while they play a game. Isn't that an esport? That's what they call it. But you're going to get the full details on Monday, everybody. But if you didn't know what you were doing April 7th and 8th, you now know you're flying to San Francisco because you don't want to miss history when whoever the final 4 teams are, they will put on white noise headphones so they can't hear the commentators. Me, Alexandra, and Grandmaster Robert Hess will have the call on site. And the final 4 of the Pro Chess League will be the world's first ever chess kind of esports event with fans that can be there at the Folsom Street Foundry, which is an esports event in downtown San Francisco. So I got to say that while we have peak viewers, because you know what? It's pretty cool. And we got the full cooperation of Twitch and a bunch of sponsors, and you're going to be there doing commentary, right?
I'm very excited to be there.
Gonna be fun.
This is gonna be a historical event. There's a ton of hype in the chat, and it's absolutely well deserved.
Yeah, no, it's a big part of our future, and we hope that it is as fun as we're building it up to be. I think it will be, and who knows who will make it? Obviously, we know that teams fighting for the full standings. I'm bringing up more right now because you know what? The games still haven't started. As I patiently wait, who will be there at the Pro Chess League final? Right now, you can see some of the teams at the top of their division that would be fighting for that spot if it ended today. In green means they're in the playoffs, everybody. Go to ProChessLeague.com and get all the information you need if you haven't been following the league as closely as you wish you were.
How many people are going to be able to actually come in person? Are there tickets or something like that, Danny?
There are hundreds of seats available. It's a really kind of cool and comfortable esports venue that holds numerous esports events. This is the first chess one they've ever done. I don't know how many seats are right in front of the stage versus kind of the whole venue. There's going to be a lot to do, so it's going to be a blasty. But all right, the next round of games are underway. Okay, we have
a blasty. That's a great quote, Danny. A blasty.
A blasty? A blasty McBlasterson.
Let's see some blasty.
Let's have some blasty right now as we move into the later rounds of today. So look for the full news announcement on Monday, everybody. I just broke the rules, but the press release will be out Monday about all the details we can reveal at this point. All right, Alexei Dreyev is starting. He's trying to rebound from losing to Magnus Carlsen. We'll keep an eye on it. Andrew Tang is taking on Justin Tan.
All right.
Lexi Sexy is taking on Ralph Mamedyarov. That could be one we'll keep our eye on.
Definitely.
Okay, but I think we have a very clear winner this round for all the fans around the world. Magnus Carlsen is taking on Eric Hansen.
All right, this is going to be a really exciting game. Who are you guys rooting for in the chat?
Yeah, this is a good one to ask the Twitch chat. Would you rather have Magnus? I mean, everyone loves Magnus, but Hansen's got a bigger following on Twitch than I think any of us. So, so who are we rooting for? I'm going to guess we get.
Yeah, it would be exciting to see him take away Magnus's perfect score.
Well, the games are just getting underway. We didn't miss a moment of the action, everybody. Don't worry. And again, you can go to Chess.com and follow other games that you want. But let's stay right here. This is the most normal opening we've seen Magnus play as black. Is that respect for the chess bra? Maybe?
It seems like he's playing a lot more reserved here.
So we have
there's no knights on the side. There's no pawns on the fifth. Right. What's going on?
There's no
Magnus?
B5. And,
yeah.
No, I agree. It's funny.
We came here for exciting chess. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens here. So we'll come back and check on this because there's no dubious opening. Maybe that gives us more of a right to check on others. Niels Grandelius. There's our awkward opening, courtesy of Amon. But Jumabayev still sticking to his B3 guns.
All right.
As we said, now the one game I really want to bring up, or at least give some love to, somebody playing for this team is going to be something from the bishops. I guess we have been covering Shimanov's games, and he has been doing very well. So
yes.
We've been giving the windmills a little more love than I realized, but Ray Robson was a game that we started to look at last round and then went away from. So I'd like to give Ray some love, little Ray Robson.
All right, let's give Robson some attention.
Where are you at, Ray? He hasn't started yet. That's the only reason why we can't find him, because he hasn't started yet. Okay. Well, let's wait then. Let's stick with Eric and Magnus. Ooh,
yeah,
wow!
Let's go back to the Eric Magnus game.
It's already getting wild. What happened here?
There we go.
E5 was played. This is
King H8.
This is a typical kind of relocation when the structure becomes one, everybody, where you have pawns facing the queen side, and so you want to get space here. Eric moves this knight to the edge, not because it plans to stay there, but because he needs to get space. Unfortunately, in doing that, allows black to also have the same type of idea on the king side, where he's going to be playing in the direction of his pawn. So this has become very King's Indian-ish, Alexandra.
Yes, it looks like the King Indian, but it's a perk, so it's a little confusing. What's the biggest difference here? I guess that black doesn't have his knight on f6, which normally goes to g8 or h5 here.
Yeah, and the fact that the queen side is already opened. It's opened up for Eric at the cost of a pawn, though. So normally if you looked at a King's Indian, you said, wow, the c file's already open, d6 is already a target. You have to what happened, but he also gave up a pawn to get it, right? You've got these doubled b pawns and the a file for black.
Yeah, he's putting a lot of pressure on d6. I mean, even if a2 hangs later on, he'll probably be able to take back one of the b pawns. Okay, knight f5.
Yeah.
Nobody's taking anything. They're just making more aggressive moves.
And they're playing very fast. These two play each other in bullets so much, maybe they forgot they have 10 minutes.
True, but maybe they're a little bit more accustomed to each other's play as well. So easier to play faster if you've seen the positions before.
Yeah, agreed. Although I don't pretend to be at the level of either Eric or Magnus, although I just have a hard time believing that this position is well-known theory. Knight to c7 is played by Eric, which, if I didn't know any better, I'd say it's winning the exchange. It forks both the rook on a8 and the square on e6, everybody. So that's a fork emote coming our way right now in the Twitch chat. I don't know that it's enough, though. Magnus thinking and probably considers allowing knight e6 and maybe just gobbling the a2 pawn.
Yep, that's what I was thinking as well. So let's say rook takes a2.
Okay, we'll do it on the
e6.
Analysis board. Knight e6, the queen moves.
Queen's got to move. Should it go on h4? Is that going to help at all with the tech? Probably
I just moved it to e7. I thought if you take f8.
Yeah, that makes
sense. Okay, he takes e3 first, which is a useful intermezzo. Oh, and honestly, that might be the key to just avoiding the exchange, right?
And rook takes f1, right.
He can take f1 with check. So now Now he could even take a2 first, because if knight e6, the rook escapes with check. I don't see exactly why.
Okay, rook takes f1, so he's just
he's just going to trade and gobble a2, and I think he's just better. Unfortunately for Eric, as I look at it, I'm like, black is. Look at that exchange sacrifice, everybody. He's saying you can take a8 because I'm going to win it right back with a fork of my own. Magnus is so good. I mean, it feels so good, and it hurts so good at the same time. Yeah. If Magnus being good is wrong, I don't want to be right. That's how it feels.
Oh my God.
You know, I mean, it's just I watch him play and I get giddy. I'm like, yay! It's so good.
yeah, for sure. Well, so let's try to find a plan for white here. We know Magnus has a lot of exciting moves coming. Rook takes a2, bishop takes e3. What should white do here? Just take the rook?
He goes for it. Magnus takes quickly.
He's just trading things off. Okay.
He's gobbling, and I think we're going to see a simplification. The question will be, can Eric get to the end game? Okay, if he takes c1.
Well, if he takes on c1, isn't he up some material?
Well, because by the key line, everybody, is if takes, white gets this, but here's Magnus's move that makes him a genius. He has knight to c5 intermezzo before taking a8, and the knight is out of squares.
Got it.
And I did not see that in advance until we got here, so I didn't get any credit for that one. But as soon as I started thinking, why can't he take on a8, I realized this knight has no escape squares, and Magnus is going to play knight c5, and Eric is sitting there like...
Well, that's true. I guess queen takes c1, knight c5. Maybe Eric can try something like queen f1, threatening queen f6 check if...
we'll move there.
Black takes the
But
queen.
again, white can be patient. Black can be patient. King g7. Just like take your time because the knight is going nowhere.
That's true. Maybe bishop e6 after that. Try to get a pawn on e6 so white has some perpetual or something.
No, I agree. But if bishop e6, maybe Magnus will just take and allow queen f7 and play king h6.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe not. Maybe I might be.
True.
I might be risking
easier
the
to be
proverbial.
on Magnus's side every game because we just know he's going to figure.
No, it is
out.
a bias, and in the rare times when I've been doing commentary for a Magnus game where he was blundering, usually it makes you look like an idiot as a commentator because you're like defending his position, and then it was actually a blunder. Oh, okay.
But you know what? That's
how it is, right?
That's every commentator's trap. It's really hard to get right.
It's good to be king. It's good to be Magnus.
It is.
Well, we'll see how Eric handles this. Let's check in on another game from the San Diego Surfers, who are still leading the overall scoreboard today, everybody. And even though Dreyev just lost to the world champion, he's already better again as white, taking on Gadir Gusenov. Looks to me like he gobbled the b7 pawn and doesn't have much regrets about it. I like it. Okay, so if he's doing well, what about the other guy that was rocking his way on the board one? Shimanov is...
Shimanov, yeah, how's he doing?
He's been leading Webster to also a score that has them in the win column, if you're looking at the standings right now, everybody. Shimanov looks to be better. What do you think? Where should we go?
For those of you guys saying don't switch the Magnus game, he hasn't moved yet, so we're just looking at other games in the meantime.
Yep. Well, here's what I'll do for you, fans. And as soon as we see the analysis, I'll keep the Magnus game going on the analysis board. So the moment he moves, we go back to it. We love you. We're not going to let Eric and Magnus sit. What about the other chess bra taking on Grandelius?
Grandelius. It looks like they're still in the opening.
This is an odd one given that Amon is way down on time.
Yeah.
But they haven't even traded more than a pawn.
This is a pretty hard defense to play as black. It's hard to figure out where your pieces should go.
Mm-hmm. Word.
Yeah.
Word. All right, what about Penguin? What about the man, the Tang Town?
Yeah, let's check out Penguin.
Penguin is white and also down a little bit on time, not nearly as much as Amon was. He's going to be better in the endgame with the outside pawn here.
It seems like Eric moved.
Eric
moved? We should go back
so
to
we go
the Magnus
back.
Game. Yes.
Eric took c1, and here's knight to c5.
Knight c5. Exactly what you were saying,
honestly,
Danny.
it's just like brilliant that I saw it once it was on the board. He played it, like, seriously, Magnus, when did he launch this combination? It is Verdunkabunk. Back on move 20, when he took e3 and traded on f1 and played bishop h6, I mean, he had already calculated that his queen was not going to be overworked trying to take the knight back and the knight here, that he had this move knight to c5. And that kind of foresight of the knight being trapped is just, it's mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
If I had a chess.com like mind-blowing emote, that's what I'd be spamming right now, but I don't have it.
One day. What about knight b6? Oh no, okay. Queen f1. That was the original.
No, that was your idea. I
about.
think that's the best idea. I think you found the best.
I thought about queen f1. I was trying to see if there was anything else here, but
no, I think you found the best idea, and the question now is, okay, he plays king g7. We saw the line all the way out to this. Now, if he plays bishop e6, we saw the whole thing, and the question is, if bishop e6 is played here, does Magnus allow the f7 check? I think he kind of has to.
And then after king h3, it seems like he could be safe.
It seems like he's gotten out, right?
There we go.
Eric
Bishop
goes
e6.
for it.
E3.
Ooh, E3.
All right. He's going for the promotion. He's saying, you can check me on f7. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to threaten yet another thing on the chessboard.
And again, he's highlighting that it's not just that the knight has nowhere to get out, it's that the knight is currently doing nothing for White's position, everybody.
Yes.
Which makes White just kind of overwhelmed, right? Because you're down a pawn, and it happens to be Eddie the Eagle. That's a problem.
All right. So
wow.
Yeah, this is a very tough position for Eric.
Okay,
Queen f7, it seems like he had to do that.
Yeah, you got to find some way to get something surprising here, and I don't know that it exists. He can get the knight out, everybody, for the record. Knight c7 is a move that would save the pony, but e2 is probably lights out. So now what?
Well, he can play knight c7, and then after e2, queen f2.
I guess my thought is that if you do that, at the very least, I could just win my piece back, and I'm still up pawns in the endgame. Right?
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to find good moves here. Hang on. If knight c7, e2, queen f2, and you take the knight, can't White play queen f8 check?
Ooh, very sneaky.
Does that do anything?
But maybe after king g5, it was nothing but a bluff, maybe? Although you do have queen h4 coming. You got like h4, and then queen h6.
It feels a little bit like a feel-good check, one that you do because you have to, but it doesn't really lead anywhere.
If something like this happens on the board, it would just be absolutely crazy. Okay, Eric finally plays the move knight to b6. Similar idea in that he's trying to get the knight back in the game while it's kind of poisoned for him to take it due to Alexandra's idea of queen f8. But Magnus goes full steam ahead. Eddie the Eagle on the run. Queen
f2. Knight
what
e4.
Does he do? Oh, it's a fork!
Oh, wow.
On g3!
That was great.
I didn't see it. That's why he's winning.
I didn't either. That's why
OMG.
He didn't even take the knight.
He's guarding h4 check. He's guarding f8 check. You can't take the pawn because of knight fork.
Wow.
Okay. I gotta take a second to spam the fork emoji myself. I can't not spam the fork emoji right now. I'm sorry. And exclams and
that was the move.
The
here.
Magnus
that was the
what?
Move.
Honestly, that was just absolutely bananas. That was awesome, right? I mean,
no, it was gorgeous. Okay.
Okay, the funny thing is, as much as I just went nuts for that, I guess if you take on b6, maybe there's queen h4 check?
Yep.
No, I just don't buy that he's... Does he have a draw there? He does. If you take, he's got tickle. Tickle for days.
He does.
Queen h4 and queen e7. Okay, so that doesn't work. So what's Magnus...
Can he just play g5 and just...
Just play g5 here? I guess White is
or
just
maybe
stuck.
just king g7, because what is White going to do? Oh, he can move his knight away.
Right.
He can move his knight away.
My guess is there's a move like queen f6 or something, where you just completely abandon the knight and then play queen f2 and end up winning with the pawn. It seems like
that makes sense.
At this point, actually, wait, queen f6 looks. I just accidentally said that, but queen f6 looks really strong because it was threatening queen f1 check. Okay, he does a different one, which is probably also winning, but I actually think queen f6 was probably the best move there because if Magnus had played queen f6, there's no way to stop queen f1 or queen f2.
True. Okay, so
well, he go. You know what it was?
What was
if
it?
queen f6 was played, White would have played king to g1, and there's no follow-up. So he played queen g5 instead, because now if king g1, there's queen e3 check.
So this is actually a more complicated position than we thought when we saw knight e4. We thought it was going to win right away, but...
Knight g3 check.
Knight g3, okay.
You can't take it because of queen to c1 check.
c1, yep.
It doesn't even look like that's good of a move, though. Can't white just move the king, and then what?
It seems like if he moves his king to g1, he's going to get queen e3.
And if king h2, maybe it's queen f4 with a discovered check by the knight coming.
Or even knight f1 check, and he has to put his king back on g1, then queen e3.
Yeah, but I guess my problem is at the end of all those lines, where's the knockout blow? Right? King h2, queen f4, and he moves the king. Yeah, here it goes. Okay. Like, I don't...
There's the knockout. There's
the knockout, and Eric resigns.
Oh,
man.
Magnus is undefeated. A lot of people were cheering for Eric, the underdog here.
Magnus Carlsen is doing work today. This is what he gets paid to do. All right. Bador Jabava did win, everybody. He took down Mr. Ralph Mamedyarov. Let's move to the other game that by one of the top players that's still going. That is Alex Shimanov.
That was rough.
What does that put the score? I mean, as great as it is for Magnus, it's better for the Gnomes because they have just jumped out into first place in the standings. And there you go.
All right.
I don't know exactly what this Danny's everybody count is that's going on. Maybe somebody can explain it.
I think they're counting every time you say everybody.
Really?
So maybe you should say it really fast to just mess up their count.
If you guys are taking shots for every time I say everybody, I'm in. If not, then you guys just got too much time on your hands to criticize people, okay? Because, all right, everybody.
That's what chat lives for. That's what chat lives for.
All right, everybody.
We sign up for it doing commentary.
All right, everybody. That's 3 more, 74. All right, now I'm into it. All right. Anyway, all right, where do we want to go in this next part of the show? Shimanov currently down the exchange against the Grand Master from Oslo, the Troll.
All right.
Okay, this is an interesting one. What about Danya? We haven't checked on him in a while. Ooh, this is a weird one.
That is true. That is true. Let's see how Daniel is doing. Oh, God. Where are all the kings around his... Yeah. Where are all the pawns around his king?
Where are all the kings as well,
yeah,
right?
Where are all the kings?
Where have all the cowboys gone? All right. Knight e4, there's no pawns, and he's worried about checks. He is up the exchange, so he's got that going for him.
That's true.
But here comes rook c4. The threat of rook c8 was not just hitting c2, but actually going to c4 as a transportation method to get to the g4 square.
Right, yeah, I see that.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye on this one. As we said, Lexi Sexy won. Andrew Tang did also manage to win. What about the other top board we were talking about? Another game, another Russian ending for the man Alexei Dreyev. He's up a pawn. No, yes. Sorry, he's equal.
He seems to really like endgames.
Yeah, he's a fan.
He's a fan.
This is one of those funny ones where even though black is the one with the pass pawn, white is doing totally fine. In fact, if not for king g7, black could have to be worried about moves like king g5 and bringing the king in, because this f2 pawn is defended, everybody. If this rook ever tries to move and sacrifice, maybe make a trade of pawn for pawn, this rook takes it and defends. So this is one of those positions where black has to be... Okay, king to g5 is not good here because black will play rook e1 and give up the a2 pawn for the e pawn. But now on e6, here comes rook to f1. I think it's the only move. No, rook e1. But Dreyev is... Anyway, what I was about to say when we get here is that this is one of those endgames where actually deceptively white is probably the only one who can win, despite the fact that black has the only passed pawn. So as you've lost a lot of those rook endings, like I have, you start to learn that things aren't always what they seem. So
and actually Dreyev was coached by... I just looked this up because I couldn't remember if it was true. He was coached by Dvoretsky, the endgame genius who wrote one of the most famous endgame manuals of all time. So no wonder he's an endgame expert. I mean, master, sorry. Many moons ago, the late Dvoretsky. All right, well,
they do find a way to get the draw. Let's go to Danya's game. Still in a world of worry about his king. He did decide to stop the rook lift. That was probably the smartest idea.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Our analysis board would also, I'm trying to check on as many games as I can to see if we're not missing anything super exciting. It's hard to know if that's the case. I've got a lot of games open here.
Yep.
I think this is about as interesting as a game that we have left from about the dozen I can quickly see. Shimanov's game is heating up. Let's check on that game, because with only 13 seconds, his opponent is in a little bit of worry here. So let's move over here to our analysis board and see if we can. Whoa!
All right.
Actually,
wait.
Black is in big trouble. Little rook pin.
He is in trouble here.
Hey, rook pin. That gives me a chance to use my other favorite emote.
I guess white can take on f5 with the knight.
Rook pin, rook pin. Rook pin hype. Rook pin hype.
Rook pin hype, but how do you take advantage of the rook pin here?
I don't know. You know me. I spam emotes first and ask questions later, Alexandra. I don't think about whether it makes sense. So, rook pin hype.
All right. Okay. I don't know. Who would you prefer to be here?
Oh man.
All things considered, including the time.
I still like white just because the king is open, including the time. But you're right. I've run out of concrete ideas, and now black is pushing the c pawn. So black is probably objectively better here, but the time makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Thanks to everybody who's here, all roughly 19,000 of you. Twitch, Chess.com TV. You are amazing. Thanks for supporting the Pro Chess League and tuning in today. I've become a Twitch chatter. You're right, Gator Roll. I used to not understand my tweeps, but now my tweeps are my peeps. I love it. I love spamming emotes now. At first I was like, why do people spam emotes? And then I was like, oh, it's because they're excited, and I've never felt that.
I think I'm a little bit of an emote abuser. I like using them a little bit too much. So yeah. I feel you guys in the Twitch chat.
Okay, he plays rook d8. He's hoping to take on g7 and then play queen g7 check. But very nice, quick move by Roland there.
Yes. Roland definitely had some time to think on his opponent's clock to do that.
Yeah.
I guess it's the only thing he can be doing here. Oh no, 2 seconds. I'm a little worried. H5, beautiful. This is the battle of the pins here.
Yeah,
H4,
he's only got two. Oh, so this is why we said we liked white, was mainly because of the time. He's trying to swing the rook to g6. This makes me nervous.
Oh no,
and he lost on time again. Shimanov has won 2 games on time. Remember, Jumabayev lost on time against him. And, I mean, not to say he didn't deserve it. He was putting his opponents in that position, but
yeah.
Just in time, he wins on time.
He's a very strong blitz player.
Yeah.
He always seems to have his clock under control, always has a lot of pressure on his opponent, even if it's pretty imbalanced, and maybe he doesn't winning on a computer engine analysis, but his positions are so hard to play against with so little time.
You're making a great point, especially because of the last move that was played was rook d6. There's if you were black, you were struggling to deal with rook g6 check, and there was no obvious defense to it.
Right.
Probably the best move was just to ignore it and maybe accept that there might be a draw or something like c3. I don't even know, but was it really threatening a win with something like this? I don't know that it really was. Black actually maybe had defensive opportunities, but okay. The next round is beginning, so we don't have time to think about this. Oh wait, this one's not bidding. I went to one of the few games remaining, figuring it was a new game because we've had so much time go off the clock. Sam Sevian is trying to defend a draw right now against Grandmaster Borovsky. Should be a pretty easy draw. He got his king in front of the pawn. This is how the Philidor defense was made. Black can just sit tight.
Yeah. Yep.
The whole point, everybody, black just sits tight. Eventually, white will push the pawn, which will open up the floodgate of checks, and the king will have nowhere to hide. So all you got to do is just sit tight. The only way to lose these rook endings is to try too hard to draw it. If you just sit tight, it's a draw. So, all right, what else is going on? Are there other games still going? I think this is it. I think this is the one that has everybody looking at the time on their clock. Magnus is like, come on, I got a Manchester game to watch. I can't do this. Make your move. Okay, finally the draw is agreed, and we will be moving on. Well, let's check in with our stats while we have a second before the next games get underway. What do we have here? Well, we have everybody who picked Magnus Carlsen on their fantasy team is really smart and gets...
Ooh, we got another everybody there.
Why do I say everybody so much?
Okay.
I didn't realize, but this is a great game. If I could, this is like when me and my wife watch Project Runway, and you wait for Tim Gunn to say, "Make it work, designers," and every time he says that, we have to slam a beer. No, I'm just kidding.
You might be one of the few people who gets that reference in this chess chat.
You get the reference, right?
I don't even watch Project Runway,
oh,
but
man.
But your voice impersonation sounded just like what I would imagine.
Tim Gunn, make it work, designers. All right, we're here. What we're doing right now is we're making Magnus Carlsen work his way toward helping a lot of people win their fantasy competition.
There we go.
I'm not self-conscious about it. It's just funny that you guys are keeping track of it. I think it's hilarious. All right. Well, the next games are not quite underway yet, but as you can see here from the standings, everybody, no other players still on 6 of 6 besides the world champion. He is the only person perfect on the day. We have Niels Grandelius at 5.5 out of 6, which is huge for the Norway Gnomes and a big reason why they're amongst the leaders.
Alexandra Shimanov has 5.5.
Apparently I'm wrong. Brandon Clark is also sitting at 6 of 6. That's amazing. So for a board 4 to be 6 of 6, he's separating himself pretty bigly. Is bigly a word? Hugely bigly? I don't know.
Let's not take that person's vocabulary.
I'm not going to take the bait on that one. Yeah, no, there's no. What's pretty surprising is we've got a 6 there on board 4. We also have a 5 from the board 4 playing for the Amsterdam Mosquitoes. Who else is on a roll? Eric Hansen. Poor Eric. Playing on board 1 there, playing the average rating of a lot of really good players.
Does he have 1 point so far? That's kind of rough.
All games are over in this round, and the next round doesn't start for another few minutes, everybody, because the games, for some reason, finish quickly here. So gives us time to check on our fantasy teams. Remind you one more time, for the few of you that just popped in, reminder, big announcement that was made is the Pro Chess League will be an in-person, not over the board. That's the difference. It's not an OTB event. It is an esports event. The Final 4 of the Pro Chess League will be live in San Francisco. And more details coming on that. Watch Chess.com news on Monday, and tell your friends what they're doing April 7th and 8th. You guys are going to watch the first ever chess event of this format. So, all right, still waiting right now for the games to begin as we chill. Let's check in with the chat. Yeah, Daniel Gurevich also on 5.5 out of 5. I should very, very important to mention that. He's a big reason why the Blizzard are honestly still there in the win column, because as you can see, Mauricio Flores, Andrew Tang, Akshat Chandra have not had the best days there, everybody, for the Blizzard. Yeah, the Blizzard are doing well. I don't think we've been ignoring the Blizzard. I think you're probably a little biased there, but that's okay. You're allowed to do that. Honestly, probably the biggest disappointment of the day so far, if you talk about the teams who were really great coming in the standings, Alexandra, has been Stockholm.
Were they doing really well before?
Yeah, I mean, to start today, the Stockholm Snowballs are right there at the top of the Central Division, tied with the Marseille Migraines, who played earlier today. If you missed that show, shame on you. If you've spent your entire Saturday watching chess, then you have a life, and that is awesome. You have a great life, right, Alexandra?
I think so. I think I'm biased because we're here for a long time.
That's right. All right, well, the games are getting underway. Let's move back and bring up the board here to start. We've got the one and only Tatev Abrahamian. We haven't covered her, and she's helping the surfers.
Some of her games.
Let's watch Tatev's game here for a minute as it gets underway.
I played her once in a tournament game. She crushed me pretty badly. She's a strong player. I think I was like 16 or so.
Yep. Okay, a lot of other games getting underway here that people are going to want to see.
Yep.
We've been told that we were ignoring the Blizzard. How dare you say
Wow, that? Eric has hard pairings. He is playing
Kadir Gusenov, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Magnus Carlsen is playing GM Iturizaga.
That's a big one. You've got Grandmaster
that is a big one.
Grandmaster Magnus Carlsen taking on Grandmaster Iturrizaga. The champions are right there still amongst the leaders. In fact, they've now tied San Diego at the top. I didn't even realize that. So the champions, the surfers, and the windmills right there, everybody, are just a half a point ahead of Norway as far as who takes home the top prize for the Super Saturday. And, well, if Magnus beats Iturrizaga, that's a good sign for the Gnomes to overtake the champions.
He just played 3h4, so Magnus is back to the trolling moves.
Like, seriously, right? I mean,
he's alternating.
Is this like the equivalent of somebody beating you with their left hand at table tennis or so? I don't know what he's like. What is he trying to prove?
It's the equivalent of beating someone at table tennis when you're holding the palette with your mouth and your hands are blindfolded behind your back.
Yeah. No,
that's more like it.
This is wild. So it's he played h4, and again, if you're watching at home, Magnus Carlsen has he's just played h5.
Something you would see in Bullet. I think Magnus is confusing the time control here, or he just doesn't care. Yeah,
he doesn't care. He's a honey badger, taking what he wants. He's taking what he wants, how he wants to do it. Wow. All right, well, we're going to keep an eye on this because this is a regular Sicilian, except Magnus Carlsen is just down upon. And now he's played bishop h6.
Wow.
This is like when someone is beating me in Bullet over someone like Amon, who adopted me last night by abusing me on the chessboard.
Wait, who beat you?
Amon beat me pretty badly last night.
All right, yeah, I've heard that from you, Danny.
I should never play at the end of a workday. I know that's an excuse, but it's just Amon was also on tilt. He's just honestly Amon's at another league above me in terms of Bullet. It's just the truth.
You'll catch up, Danny. That would be the day when you beat him.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But anyway, when someone plays this, it makes you just frustrated because you know what they're doing is wrong. Like, it's wrong, and you know you would beat them in a classical game, and you would.
Well, but would you beat Magnus in a classical game after h4? That's questionable.
No, I'm saying I don't know. No, I wouldn't. I mean, let's not pull a Lawrence Trent, okay? Magnus spotted a rook to Lawrence Trent, and it didn't seem to matter. So,
oh my gosh.
All right. Well,
but Magnus's position is actually pretty good here.
Well, I think he's worse. I mean, he's down a pawn, but yes, if Black
relative
just goes
for being down a pawn.
If Black goes straight forward with a regular looking Yugoslav attack, yes, then that pawn is not a bad pawn to sacrifice because you've got this H file to use and launch the attack. But
well, it'd be fun to break Magnus's perfect score after he trolls because I feel like then he would take a little bit of a hit.
Yeah.
How does Magnus play when he's on tilt? Is he still very strong?
You just asked an oxymoron. How does he play when does he go on tilt? Is that a thing? I don't know. I've never.
Everybody has to go on tilt occasionally.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's true. That was kind of an oxymoron.
No, but you're right. It's a big question. All right. Well, we'll come back to this one since Iturrizaga is going into the think tank about how he wants to deal with it. Let's move on to his teammate. Mr. Quesada is also a big part of why the champions are here. And he's taken on the board 2 for the Gnome. So this is Gnome on champion action here.
All right.
Niels Grandelius is Black, and I think just fine, actually, in this position. I think that the overextended white king makes me a little worried about these squares here. The d6 pawn is isolated, but not really under any kind of pressure at this point.
I still prefer white here, though.
Yeah?
Because it feels like white has the advantage right now, and even if pieces trade off, white still has advantage because of the d6 pawn in the endgame.
Yeah, fair. Also, the d5 square is potentially weak, which Black has to worry about. I think it's unclear, and I wonder whether white will turn this sort of extra space that he has, right, Alexandra? You got the pawn on f5, you've got the rook here. You're going to turn this space into some real pressure of an attack, or does that space become weakness, right, as the pieces overextend and white has problems? So we'll come back to this one.
That's true.
Where else should we go? We got the man. Oh, wait. Jumabayev and Azarov just took a quick draw. Shame on them. Shame on them.
They need a little bit of
break.
Wait,
does Azarov play for the Snowballs? Maybe. If they're on the same team, they get a pass. I'll ask somebody to confirm that.
Okay.
If they're on the same team, they get a pass in my book. All right, Dianya Naroditsky taking on Justin Tan, who is not the world's best Crazy House player. This will be an interesting one.
Naroditsky has a nice attack going on. His rook is on a7, which is a little weird.
Yeah,
he won't be able to castle later on, but
that happened to everybody. I'm just guessing because there was a bishop here and a bishop here, and white took it, and so that's probably how that became to be. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to start using the word everyone and confuse them and see who messes up their account.
You're so
Here's
tricky,
the thing,
Danny.
everyone. Oh, things just got real up in here. That's right.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, so C5 was played in this game over between Magnus Carlsen and Iturrizaga.
Let's go back to their game.
Somehow Magnus is going to get an attack. He's just, what is he? He does it. He does it. Just, I'm speechless.
You are. Okay.
Again, but I like Iturizaga's position. This is just better for black. He's up a pawn. He's the one who's gotten the first go of things as far as who's attacking, who's king. I just, again, it's one of those times where I think that we give Magnus Carlsen the pass, but right. I think the trolling could really hurt him here with an opening.
It could, because it seems like Iturrizaga can castle and play something like rook FB8 later on, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess he's doing another plan.
No, this is good though. He's taking his time. Now he can take on D5. Less minor pieces means less worry for his king. Get castled.
That's true.
It sounds super bold of me, but I'm gonna pick that Magnus doesn't win this game. Legit.
Ooh.
He doesn't win this game. I'm going on record. I don't know that
you should ask everyone what they think.
What do you think, everyone? Leave a comment in the chat. Yeah. And then call everybody and have a party with everyone.
There you go.
All right, no, but I don't think Magnus wins this game. Legitimately, I think he went a little too far. And we'll watch me take my foot out of my mouth in about 15 minutes when he wins. But no, I'm going on record. He doesn't win this game. All right, so we'll come back to it. Where else should we go? Many places, many areas.
Who else? Ray Robson. We haven't given him enough love.
Ray.
He has a pretty interesting position so far.
Okay, let's do it. I'll grab myself.
There's pins involved. We all like pins.
I'm gonna grab myself a Ray Robson game.
It seems like he might just be better. Yeah, he's a lot better here. It's not too complicated. The A7 pawn is gonna fall later on.
Yeah.
So maybe we can switch to another game.
Well, it's strange still. Okay, maybe he's just better. Little Ray Robson. Call him Little Ray Robson because I've known Ray since he was like way too little to be known. I have known Ray for a very long time. Ray actually stayed in my house when he was 11 for a week. We had a chess camp, and he was so little, and he kept me up one night, all night, playing blindfold chess. He refused to go to bed. Like seriously, it was back when I could beat him. It was crazy, and you could just tell that you were dealing with a future super GM at that age. All right,
that's incredible.
So let's look at his games.
Let's go back to Magnus's game.
Oh, Magnus, is it heating up? Okay, let's do it.
It is heating up. It is heating up.
Okay, well, Magnus probably heard my bold prediction. It's like, let's make Danny a donkey. Let's do Danny the donkey one more time as Magnus Carlsen, and go prove him wrong. But I don't. The reason I said he would not win, I didn't say he would lose, is because I think that black can trade and up a pawn in this major piece position. I just have a very hard time. The only idea would be for white to play g4 and pry open the h-file, but there he goes. He's anticipating that. That's a very smart move, clearing the h8 square for the rook. So as somebody who looks like a donkey for a living, I'm going to be right. Magnus is not going to win this game, Alexandra. I'm telling you. All right, let's go back to little Ray Robson. After I told my story about Ray, I got to see him get a victory.
Yes. Oh, wow. Ray is looking good.
Uh-oh, though. He's losing the c7 pawn. No.
Yeah, but he has the B pawn that's passed and enough pieces to support it, I think.
I guess one idea is white could put the knight on d3, put the bishop on d4, and get some sort of position where you just kind of own the dark squares, right? Preventing things from being dislodged in the center. The best way for the knight to compete with the bishops,
everybody. You can play knight h3, knight h5 here. Maybe.
That's true. That would be a way to kind of hold on to the pawn for a little bit longer. Agreed, right. Town, population us. let's go back to Magnus Carlsen. Again, that's what people want. I can see them yell. I'm not even reading the chat right now. I can just feel I can see their eyes just like glaring at me. We want Magnus.
You feel it. You feel it.
I feel it.
Well, you're good at reading the crowd, Danny. So
yeah.
Let's go back.
All right, well, we're here, and he does get g4. That would be the way that I'm wrong, is if Magnus pries open the h-file and creates something out of nothing here, and he's down a pawn in a position that had black really on the attack first. I guess the other thing about white's position is he has taken care, at least for the most part right now, of any worries about his king, right? I mean,
Yep.
He's not worried anymore.
Yeah,
that's kind of a big deal.
That was a nice way to protect his king here. But does Magnus have any chance for any counterplay?
Well, the h-file is going to open up. The best thing that black has going for him right now is that he can quickly get on the h-file himself. And so that's key.
True. So I guess as black, you just don't want to open up the h-file here. Maybe you want to let g5. That's okay. If he takes on h5, take with the knight. Although, Magnus can just trade off his knight. Okay,
well,
so he did open
we're
going to
find out. Yeah, he opens the h-file.
He'll put his rook on h8 then, so at least he's the one controlling it. Or maybe he'll trade the knight first. Guess we'll see.
Yeah, he does. He trades. Now, the problem with that is that e7 is immediately under fire. So now black is having to deal with this, and the more the position opens up, the more you get nervous. What do you do if you're a Turizaga here? You're just so nervous about the fact that you're
playing Magnus, yeah.
And the position has gotten so far back to equal that
Oof.
he's on his route.
He is. Yeah, I'm starting to feel a little nervous for Turizaga.
For my prediction. I'm nervous about my prediction. I mean, I don't care about it. No, I'm kidding.
You've been predicting Magnus pretty well. You've been predicting his moves. I hope you can predict this result. It'd be interesting to see Magnus have a little bit of a setback just to see how he plays after. Just to shake
That's true.
Things
just
up
to
a
shake
little bit.
things up a little bit. Let's see what he does when he's not perfect. Magnus. It's all Marcia. No, he's good. I mean, he's just honestly now he's going to win. He's just got so much pressure. Black is under fire and getting under time pressure.
Yep.
If he proves me wrong, we'll spam the Chess.com what emote. But wow.
Yeah, this is rough.
You got to play rook a to e8, I think. You got to start overprotecting. Only come to the h file when white goes to the h file. Everybody, obviously, you can't go there as a prophylactic move because of f7. But you don't really want to move any of these pawns and create any more avenues to pry open new squares, So I think the only question would be if he wants to work on a7 somehow, if he believes that guarding on the 7th rank will help. But disconnecting the rooks feels like inviting the potential for a blunder. And the biggest problem with everything we're trying to predict is it's irrelevant if he gets under a ton of time pressure. He's just not going to be able to hold.
Which he's already getting under time pressure.
Right. No, he's getting there. Just amazing.
It's just way too easy to blunder in this move. There's probably like 1 or 2 good moves at best each time. So it's going to be rough.
I agree. Well,
rook e3. Yep. Just
everyone, let's remain on the edge of our seats to see just how much Magnus proves me wrong. Rook e3, a nice dual-purpose move, everybody. It prepares both to double the rooks and to swing quickly at a moment's notice to the h-file and get jiggy with it over here. Shout out to all 20,000 of you who are currently watching this on Twitch TV/chess.
20,000 viewers for chess. That's what happens
Chess.com
when you bring
TV.
Magnus on. And
I'm sure we're probably in the top 10. We're probably in the top 10 on the homepage here. Probably, exciting. I would bet. All right, well, thanks for being here, everybody. Don't go anywhere. Check out the Pro Chess League and become a fan from here on out. Rook e6 prepares 2 things. One, everybody, is this idea of queen e4, where they're both spying on this g6 pawn, which makes threats of g5 a problem. So rook e6 it doesn't have an immediate threat, but you're just sort of playing, just poking and prodding here, double on the e-pawn, poke
tickling.
At this pawn.
Isn't that the word?
Well, you're tickling, right? This is just
tickling.
A game of tickle. Yeah. A game of tickle and see if somebody breaks, right? Lucky for me, I'm super ticklish, so it doesn't take long. All right, again, he plays g5. He didn't want to sit around and wait, But now that means queen f5 does two things. One, it threatens rook takes f6. Look at this. Let's look at the now. Okay, he didn't do it. I thought Magnus should have gone queen f5. I know I just did an oxymoron. I thought Magnus should have gone, but there was a threat here with all kinds of stuff. I think that was a tricky idea. And now maybe I honestly think that was a stronger approach because black was sort of frozen in that case. But okay, he's gonna go the old school.
He can play rook e2 and then queen f5.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna go old school, gang up on the e7 pawn.
Yep, there we go.
Here comes queen a5 in some positions. That's Iturizaga's idea, but
queen f5 is threatening rook takes f6.
I don't remember who it was, but didn't somebody say that Magnus wasn't going to win this game? What an idiot that guy was, right? What an idiot. Okay.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't know who you're talking about either. It's certainly, I don't know. Everybody in the chat probably remembers it. All right. Rook takes f6 is coming with check, and with it the queen will fall, so Iturizaga is on the run.
Queen b7 forced here. Okay. Are there any other pins we can get excited about?
I do get excited about pins.
What about rook e3? No, I was trying to take the rook away from
rook e4 opens up the e6 square, but also maybe brings the rook quickly to this side of the board at a moment's... Oh, and he blunders rook e7 check. I didn't say Magnus wasn't going to win this game. Did I? Did I really say that?
It's not like it was recorded or anything.
It wasn't like it's recorded. No one can confirm it. Danny the donkey yet again. All right. I told you I would. I told you I would.
Does Magnus have any more hard matchups that he might lose to?
I told you I would. Danny gets both Chess.com what and double question mark emote spam to all 20,000 of you. I said Magnus wasn't going to win because if you just joined us, this is how this game started.
Let's show people who just joined what happened.
He played knight e2, and then he played h4, and then he just gave up the pawn for no reason.
Yeah, that was
Oh my gosh. Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen makes Danny a donkey. We move on with life. Story of my life. Here we go. Back to another game. Ray Robson, my boy, but he's down to 16 seconds.
Okay.
He's winning though. What do we got?
Let's look back at him.
Thank you to everybody who's tuning in though, seriously. All 20,000 of you. Thank you to all of our Twitch subscribers, our premium members. Because of you, these events are possible. We super duper appreciate the love, and thanks to all the viewers that are here. Get excited about chess. Yes. That's just what that is right there. You guys just saw it. That's just a game of tickle because of the increment. Sometimes you got to go back and forth. Every good Russian schoolboy repeats moves. This is a Russian schoolboy fact.
You got to do the Russian schoolboy technique.
Okay, now you can take and overwhelm the king. If bishop takes b7, and it's over.
Yep. Nice endgame play.
We've talked about people who get under time pressure, Alexandra. Ray Robson gets under as much time pressure as anybody, but also does tend to play pretty good chess once the adrenaline kicks in.
That's good. That's good.
This is over, honestly. White can even just play c4, c5, and even when the pawn gets there, the bishop still can't take because b7 will overload the king and white wins. So,
yep, this is a clean endgame.
8 seconds or not. The man from the Riga Magicians can just resign here. Ray's going to push c4, c5, and then bring the knight around and start going after the h-pawn. A matter of technique, as they say in Mother Russia, and we move on to Eric Hansen's game. What's going on against Gusianov? This is a tough one.
It looks like Gusianov has a really nice attack here. But he can't push d5 right away.
Yeah, you're right. He's sort of stuck to the tension, right? You could cut the tension on e5 with a knife. This is
yes. But is f4 dropping, or can black play queen f5? Seems like queen f5 is possible. Oh no, Eric's already down under.
Yeah, I was going to say big problem for Eric again. It's one of the curse, one of blessing and a curse, right? I mean, Eric can handle himself in time pressure, and we know that somebody can, but. You know, Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru Nakamura are also great bullet players, but they don't get under as much time pressure, right? You almost never see Magnus.
That's true.
And it's just one of those things where Eric has had issues with time management in some of these games, and some of the blunders come when you get down on time, and it's a tough thing when you're playing 127.50 Grandmaster after another. So, no judgments, but this time pressure is going to be a big problem for black.
Yeah, it will be. And keeping in mind that Eric is probably a little bit on tilt, just having 1 point so far.
We've
Let's see who else is playing some interesting chess here. Looks like Daniel is about to win.
Naroditsky, we check it out. You're right.
He has a pretty killing position.
He's on the hunt.
He is.
On the hunt. Bishop f5 makes sense. Bring the bishop to the diagonal and then get back to working it. Yeah, that's the nice move. Now he's threatening 92, everybody. Stop your king from running away before you give a check, right? Checks are, as my abusive Russian chess coach would have said, checks are for potzers. All right, so now what? That's going to be a win here for Naroditsky. Where does that leave us in the standings, by the way? We haven't given San Jose a ton of... Well, we haven't talked about in the standings. We've covered a lot of their games, honestly. But they're also right there, and with 16 points in the win column. Montreal needs to bounce back. The Chess Bras are in the danger zone of moving into the loss column. And as we already said, Eric is down on time, and as we check back into it, now with only 10 seconds on the clock. Chess is currently number 6, moving up to number 5, probably momentarily on the Twitch homepage. So this is a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody that's here tuning into the Pro Chess League today.
What was the record for chess? Number 2?
We've been as high as number 2. Yeah.
For the World Championship match,
right? The highest concurrent viewers I think we ever had was about 30, just short of 36,000. So.
Wow, incredible.
But this is a lot of fun, and everybody shows up when the best players in the world are cram-packed together.
Of course.
All right. Well, Eric is having to defend. I'm peeking over here. I'm creeping, as the Twitch chat would say. I'm creeping on these other games, trying to find us any other games that are super interesting.
All right.
Ray Robson did win, everybody. Daniel Naroditsky also did win. Magnus Carlsen won, as everyone knows.
Yep. Amon is still playing.
Yeah, let's check out that game. He's only got 5 seconds. Niels Grandelius also won again. That puts the Norway Gnomes in a great position. That's why they're at 18, because Magnus Carlsen and Niels Grandelius have been studs today, all over it.
That's true. That's true.
Come on, Amon. Come on, Chess Bras. The fans want you to win, and I want what the fans want.
Queen G2 is coming. Queen G2 is coming.
And he wins.
If he takes the pawn.
That's right.
And then, yep, it's a win.
Nice move, Alexandra. He trades everybody, and then he's winning the king and pawn ending with the extra pawn. I think black is busted. He's going to play queen e5 check. Oh. Whoa, a shocker.
We didn't... Oh, wait, he can play king G3.
Yeah, he can just move the king, but that was a great move to play with no time on the clock to really put the pressure on Amon.
That's true. We thought he was winning here, and of course it's never. Oh wait, what about queen? No, queen d3.
No, queen d3. The king can get there.
Yeah.
I think he is winning, and now his opponent Borovsky is under just as much time pressure.
Now queen g4,
Game
and
over.
It's over. Yep.
Transitioning into the easier endgame like a pro.
Is Borovsky still playing this? Does he still have hopes? No, he respectfully resigned. Okay.
He played it on because like Chris Farley would say, he had no place else to go. All right. Nothing else to do, so he's going to keep doing.
All right. Okay, back to Eric's game. They're both getting under time pressure now. Gushinov
he's defended
15
well,
seconds.
But yeah, he's defended really well. If Eric can hold this with Amon just getting a big win, that's what the Chess Bras need to get out of that loss column. E6. Okay. A nice confusion move. Cuts off the queen from guarding it, but it's sort of desperate at the same time because black has the d3 pawn and it's not going anywhere.
Okay, queen takes h4.
Knight d5.
This is actually...
This is crazy. He's going to win the rook now. He can queen. He does it. Eric just plays knight e3. Doesn't even worry about it. I don't think he's going to survive that, though. I feel like he maybe should have worried about it.
Yeah.
It's a girl on c8, and she's evil. So
yeah, that was rough.
This was a.
At least there was some comeback there. There was fighting spirit.
I wondered. It took him a second, so I was wondering if it almost wasn't a girl. I was wondering if he pushed here and didn't have auto queen on, so he had to choose because he almost lost on time queening. But anyway, Gushinov does take care of business, unfortunately for the Chess Bra.
Taking care of business.
Taking care of business. All right, where are we going from here? We got...
where are we going? Are there any games left?
Okay, we've got the Denis Boros for the windmills. losing the moment I go to the game, failing to the bridge.
You're doing it again, Danny.
Doing the curse. I'm going to get out of here before he resigns. Okay.
Yeah, go. Okay.
He tried to trick him on a pre-move there. That was hilarious. All right.
That's funny.
Oops, wrong game. I tried to go to Jan Elvist, which I have now. Oh, more girls on the board. We've got girl power over here with a couple of queens. Jan Elvist takes down Raj Panjwani, which only continues to hurt the chess bras in their efforts. So,
Raja Panj. Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, that was tough.
That is sad.
And I think with that, we've actually seen this last round come to a close. So the standings are exactly as you see them, everybody. Magnus Carlsen and Niels Grandelius leading the way for the Norway Gnomes. We only have one more round today, and it will be everything the hackers and the windmills need to slow down Magnus Carlsen and Niels Grandelius. As you can see on the screen, they're 7 and 6.5 respectively. Look at that. That is a top-heavy team, Alexandra. They're getting almost no support from the bottom two boards, the Gnomes, but Grandelius and Carlsen are just rocking it.
They're killing it. Wow. I thought Rufang Lee was going to score a couple more points. I guess whenever I think of a free agent coming on, I always think they're going to play very well. But Norway is now on top, like you said.
The most exciting matchup that's about to get underway, everybody, has definitely got to be the Webster Windmills taking on Norway. They are second and first, respectively. Yes, San Jose's right in there, but Webster also was 17.5. Magnus Carlsen will be taking on Shimanov, so that's only a slightly worse day than the world champion Shimanov is having. Thanks, Yoda. And he's only a half a point there behind Magnus's perfect 7. So we'll see what happens when Magnus takes on Shimanov in just a moment.
That's exciting. What match are we at, Danny?
This next one is going to be the final round.
Wow.
So whoever finishes strongest here between those top 3 teams is likely taking home the top prize. Australia is in the winners column pretty much for the opposite reason that Norway Gnomes are, that their board 4 has 7 points. Brandon Clark, we haven't covered a single one of his games.
We got to see how he's doing next game.
That's just amazing performance from one of the lower boards here right now. So congratulations to the Kangaroos, who are holding strong, again, because of their board 4, not really because of Miroshchenko or Smirnov right now.
Brandon Clark.
The Blizzard and San Diego are also right there in the winners column, 2 teams that are having good seasons. If we go over to the full site standings, we start out looking at the Eastern and the Central, but of course, moving down to the Atlantic and the Pacific, here you can see San Diego is having a good year.
They definitely are.
Currently would be in the playoffs if it started today. Going to be tough to stop the Chengu Pandas, who fielded the strongest lineup, I think, in Pro Chess League history today, or they either fielded the strongest lineup in PCL history or one of the strongest lineups they've ever. I missed the memo on that one. I gotta check my TPS letters. We've got.
Are they going to be flying in from China to SF?
I don't know, but I don't know that you and I are going to go anywhere else besides the Magnus Carlsen game versus Shimanov here. Shout out to Kevin. Yep. Kevin Owich. I don't know if you're related to Aaron Nimzovich, but either way, thanks for the sub on Chess.com's Twitch channel. Thanks to all of you who have been here and are here. The games will be beginning in T-minus 30 seconds, so don't go anywhere. We have big plans for you. And just like that, Alexei Dreyev starts things off. And okay, we move on. We've got Alexei Dreyev rocking. Done very well today. Had a loss to Magnus Carlsen, but hey, that happens. Magnus has not started yet.
Magnus is undefeated so far.
He's undefeated, and we've really got everything coming down here to the Gnomes and one of those 3 teams. The Hackers have also had a great day today, and we'll see how Ralph Mamedyarov, their top board, can score in this last round. That'll be big to see how they finish. Maybe they can leapfrog while Webster and Norway are going head to head, right? Maybe they can have a good round and sort of leapfrog them. So we'll see. Shout out to Frenchie155. Appreciate the sub. And just like that, we appreciate Magnus Carlsen and Shimanov. We're all in the appreciation train of good chess right now. Let's see what happens in this final game. Will Magnus play knight h? What are the odds? Knight 8, knight ace, f5, the Dutch.
Let's see some predictions. Oh.
That was right at the tip of my tongue, is what will Magnus play? And he goes with the Dutch. He's going with the stone wall, aggressively stating his intentions here.
Okay.
Shout out to B.
Magnus and Shimanov played before in classical chess? Do we know?
That's a good question. Maybe one of our staff members can check on that. I have no idea what Magnus and Shimanov's records would be, but I know that we can talk a lot about this game because obviously it's really the biggest game of the round, regardless of the fact that it's Magnus versus Shimanov. Whoever takes the match here between Norway and Webster is probably going to win the day, unless San Jose really sweeps up their opponent. So you're going to have a really interesting struggle here, everybody, where Black has complete control over the light squares, and with it, a lot of potential for pieces to land on them, but you've made a big sacrifice. You've got this bad bishop on c8, which is sort of stuck behind the pawn structure. You've also potentially weakened your own dark squares. So you have an interesting positional struggle when both sides are, to quote Aaron Nimzovich, since we just had a sub on Twitch who sounded like Nimzovich, it's a power struggle for overprotecting and over-controlling the area of the board that you want to dominate.
Okay.
Okay. We talked about Brandon Clark, and we'll try to pull up his game too, the only other 7-0 coming in. Apparently, he's also the Australian Blitz champion. So Brandon Clark is no stranger to having good scores in Blitz, and maybe that's a big part of it. But we watch Carlsen and Shimanov get going here, and
maybe take a peek at Brandon Clark's game as well, since he deserves it.
And we will. We'll pull up Clark's game here in just a sec.
Okay. So far, the Magnus Shimanov game still looks respectable. Things going according to plan. Nothing explosive just yet, so probably a good time to check on his game.
Okay. And
Brandon Clark is playing woman IM Ina Agrest.
All right. That's what we want to see right now. We're going to pull it up.
Also seems to be pretty early on in the opening. They played a Ruy Lopez here. Nothing exciting happening just yet, so maybe we'll have to give it a little bit of time, although Ina's opening up the center here.
Well, obviously we'll be focusing mainly on Magnus, but there you go, everybody. The only other 7-0 on the day is FIDE Master Brandon Clark. So that'll be fun for us to keep our eye on. And all right, but
let's go back to the game of the day.
The game of the day, the game of this last round. The position has opened up quicker than you sometimes see in a Dutch stonewall here. You start to think that White is having to worry about tactics on d4 combined with the threat of e5. Not yet, though. He's got pressure on d5, which that tension makes it really irritating for Black. You can't just go forward without something happening.
So Black's plan here is to eventually trade the d-pawn and push e5. I mean, I guess that would be ideal, but it doesn't seem possible for quite some time.
Yeah, and Magnus has taken a little more time here in the opening. They were almost even on the clock, so that's
rare. That's a rare sight for sure.
Rare for Magnus. Always fun to see people come into the Chess.com chat for the first time today and be like, "Wait, is this Magnus Carlsen playing?" And
yes, this is Magnus Carlsen.
Yes, it is. Funny. All right. Well, we're going to stay right here on the analysis, though, because I think that after taking d5, we already have a critical moment. I mean, if Magnus takes back, he immediately has to deal with knight takes f5, which wins a pawn, and you don't want to trade either because you'd be losing the light square bishop. So how is Magnus trading, or how is he dealing with this issue here? I'm calculating, and I like White, and I'm not going to make the same mistake of making a bold prediction that Magnus loses, but I am going to say that I like White right now, and we'll see what Magnus comes up.
It's okay to make the bold predictions. It's a little bit more fun to have someone controversial.
Right. Sports commentators predict wrong all the time, right? So, if they can do it, I guess I guess that's life. All right, well, we're going to keep our eye on this one right here. Let's check in on another one as we keep the scoreboard up, too, for those of you who are paying very close attention. And here he goes for f5 anyway.
Oh, knight takes f5.
Knight takes and he takes. And that's part of the problem, is that if black takes back,
white can play
white has bishop c4, instantly winning back the piece. Magnus has he's got some problems here in this one.
He does, but he's no stranger to playing down a pawn and hustling the positions. Of course, Shimanov's a really strong player, so it'll be hard to do here.
Right.
And Magnus is, for once, a minute lower than his opponent.
Yeah, this already has an
cool
interesting flavor to it. Magnus down on time. Magnus, I think, worse here, given that he's lost a pawn, and white can just take the piece right back if he wants.
He takes the piece right back, can't Magnus follow with bishop e6?
At the end of the line, true, but even at the end of that line, I move my queen to e5. I'm threatening things like knight g5. I still like Shimanov's position.
That's fair.
The move that Shimanov is probably thinking about right now is a3, right? Rather than just getting the piece back, the question is, can Shimanov play a more subtle kind of move that is now pointing out that these knights are having trouble defending each other?
Yep. A3 seems to be a solid move here.
Okay.
Shimanov, there you go. A3.
He plays A3. Yeah, I like A3. I think it was the more patient approach. Yeah. And Magnus has some things to figure out. He plays bishop e6, so he's giving back the piece on b4, and with it, he's going to win one of his pawns back.
Okay, so he's getting some compensation back.
Yeah, he is.
He's at least
he is, for
weakening Shimanov's extra pawn here so that he'll be able to potentially grab it later on. So does it seem like Shimanov should just take on b4 and then take on d5?
Well,
hard to tell what the best line is here. There's quite a few options.
Yeah, well, I think if he takes on b4, black is taken with the knight. Yeah, because if you took with the bishop, right, there probably was some lost material there. Ooh, and instantly plays queen b3. Wow, that's
bold.
That's a move right there. That's actually a big problem, I think, for Magnus, because now he's dealing with the threat of the discovery and doubling rooks.
Yep. He's probably going to have to move his king away from the check here. There we go.
Wow.
And now rook c1 is coming?
Yeah, I think I think this is a big problem for Magnus. I think he's in
also ideas like bishop G, maybe rook d1 too, threatening bishop g5.
Well, it's again, it would be a real tough thing for Magnus to swallow, because he played the Dutch, and you get these problems whenever the positions open up so quickly.
Knight e5. We did not see this. He's going for something even more aggressive than what we predicted.
Rook takes c5 is maybe a threat, and the idea is if the queen takes, there's overwhelming things on the light squares. If the rook takes, the knight on b4 is falling.
But if rook takes, queen takes b4, can't black just take on e5? And then he's threatening the queen on b4.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, so it's not actually a threat. Okay, so well, this is as on the edge of our seat as I think we've been. Besides when I predicted that Magnus wouldn't win.
That was quite the prediction.
Yeah, no, this is a position where white clearly has some pressure and black is struggling to coordinate. But we're lacking knockout blows currently. If you're in Camp Shimanov.
That's true. B6 was a good move, just trying to
B6 was a
good
move.
Little bit more. Yeah, that was solid.
Overprotecting the bishop, also preparing a5 perhaps just to overprotect the knight and eliminate all your worries about these pieces over here. Plus, the one thing that black really has going for its position right now, everyone, is that you've got the 2-on-1 potential in the endgame. So you've if the transition happens and black does parry all of the tactical threats, he's better in the endgame.
Yeah, that makes sense. But, okay, bishop g3.
All right.
He's trying to just go bishop h4?
Yeah,
maybe not. Or he's making space for
No, bishop h4 is a nice threat there, right? It's defended by the rook, and you would get the queen in in a weird spot where she kind of wants to keep her eye on f7 because of the tactics happening here. And
yep.
Again, so you're calculating not just the tactics right here, but making sure you don't leave anything behind. Yeah, this is super nerve-wracking. No real results in yet. As we look at the standings, everybody, we're pretty much dealing with the same score that we had coming in with the Norway Gnomes, the San Jose Hackers, and the Webster Windmills. It's anybody's game. So where's Ralph Mamedyarov right now? Like in the world, where is Carmen Saint? No, I'm kidding. Where is Ralph Mamedyarov in our standings? I think he's.
Yeah, let's just look at him.
Trying to find his game. I know we don't want to really go far. We're not going anywhere.
Oh,
we're not going
Rook
too far.
F6 was played.
Rook F6 was played. He's allowing Bishop H4.
What is going on?
Oh no, E5 is.
Oh, because
okay,
Queen. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Magnus with the tactics.
Magnus with the tactics.
Something we all expected. That's what we're here for. We're here for
That's what we're here for. Okay, Badur Jabava also already took a quick draw against Miroshenko, so that was. Sometimes that's Jabava's. He tends to give draws when he gets a little frustrated with his play. He's obviously drawn the last two games, not something he's super thrilled about. Okay, and we have action there at the top with one draw in the books there, exactly because of Jabava's draw. The Webster Windmills gain a half a point in the standings. They move a little closer to the Norway Gnomes.
All right.
And we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. All 20,000 of you will. Thanks to everybody who's here. We got Grandmaster Hikaru Nakamura hanging out in the Chess TV chat. That's Chess.com
that's
TV.
Cool.
Shout out to...
People in the chat are saying that Rook F6 prevented Knight G6 check.
Right.
That's actually really nice.
Yeah, that was a super tricky threat, everybody. If a pawn was moved...
Thanks you guys for pointing it out.
Knight G6 check after takes, Rook H4, and suddenly... That's a tactics trainer problem right there. So that was useful. The rook comes to D1.
Rook D1. Perfect. Bringing in more pieces to the attack.
Yep. And Shimanov is still better. Magnus has not figured out all of his problems.
Yeah, that's true. Can he just play Rook D8 here, or does that run into trouble?
Oh wow, he plays
Knight C6. Okay.
Knight C6.
So he's trying to take the pressure off. That knight is looking really dangerous.
That knight has been a menacing beast.
Mm-hmm.
If
Magnus can take that knight off the board, it'll make him feel a lot better.
There's no more threats on G6, but D7 became a huge problem after this move Rook D1 with the knight and rook meeting on it. So he's trying to make a trade, but I'm wondering if White can play Knight D7 anyway, which forks the rook on F6 and the bishop and the pawn. A big fork emote coming our way. I mean, that seems like a real possibility for White. I like Knight D7. Not sure if Rook D7 is also good. I haven't calculated it well enough, but
don't worry, Shimanov is going to calculate it for us.
He's going to do the work for me. Shimanov's going to calculate it for us, so no big deal. That's right.
Just joking.
Hikaru Nakamura says Shimanov is fine. Shimanov is better. He's doing just fine in the position. Thanks, everybody, for being here today as we move into the last round here. You can see the standings above. Those teams are fighting for both winning the Super Saturday, but also their overall standings in the Pro Chess League as we move in the second half of the season to the playoffs.
It's exciting.
Okay, well, the big thing in Magnus's favor right now is the time.
The time,
right?
Yeah, that's true. It used to be okay. Shimanov used to be pretty equal on time, but he's definitely taking some thoughts here, which is okay because if he figures out something tactical, then Magnus is going to get the same pressure.
Yeah, and we'll keep the analysis option open just in case we see a quick line we need to dive into.
All right. Let's see. Are any other results early on? Not
at the top of the standings. I admit I wasn't watching all of the ones down low, but not at the top of the standings.
Okay, we have some moves with Magnus. So he traded off the knight. That took a lot of Shimanov's pressure away from the board.
Yeah, it did. Not only that, it took a lot of his time off the board too while he was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. I think Magnus has seen the worst of it. I'm not exactly sure where a knockout blow existed for Shimanov if it did, but we're getting closer and closer to to what we said would be Black's trump card toward the end, which is having the 2-on-1, right? You've got two pawns versus this one B pawn, gives Black a small positional edge if you transition into the endgame. Slightly better chances just in terms of chess theory. Not a huge advantage, but Magnus is pretty good at converting not huge advantages. That's what he does.
It is his specialty. Okay, Magnus is not allowing for any sort of pin threats, of course. H4, making space for the king later on.
All right, well, as they make a couple moves here in transition to the endgame, let's check on the game between the board twos of these two teams. That is, of course, Niels Grandelius taking on Ray Robson. If you look at the standings, with Norway only having a 1-point lead, this game is just as big in terms of the team standings, even if it isn't a Magnus Carlsen game. And in here, looks like Grandelius is transitioning that G6 is coming, and with it, a whole bunch of light square problems. Yeah, he plays it. I like it.
Yep.
I like it very much.
Yeah, Grandelius seems to be slightly better here. His position is pretty well protected, even though Ray Robson has the c-file open and his queen putting pressure there.
And if you're just joining us, really the boys from Norway have been Niels Grandelius and Magnus Carlsen all day. That's the reason why you see them at the top of the standings with super impressive performances. And so we're probably going to stick right here as both these games start to get under time pressure. Back to Magnus Carlsen versus Shimanov, where speaking of time pressure, Shimanov is almost under a minute.
Wow.
This is where you just start to... You get nervous for anybody playing Magnus.
Oh, this is where we should have the heart rate monitors on. Are we going to have it for the final and SF? On everybody.
On me, right? Because I'm currently...
Even on the audience. It should be a little Twitch emoji next to what your heart rate is.
Taking the pulse. That's a good idea, actually. Just the whole world on heart monitors and, that doesn't sound weird at all.
All right.
All right, so he's kind of sitting tight, which makes sense if you're Shimanov, but...
This is a better endgame for Magnus. And
the main thing that could backfire is if he somehow allowed his king to eventually be an issue, right? If somehow, we see issues start to happen on the light squares, you regret that ultimate Dutch move that you played on move 1 with F5. But other than that, I don't see a lot of reasons why Black isn't just better as we head into the pieces come off. You've got the 2-on-1. The B3 pawn is weak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Norway already strikes with a win. Not exactly sure who got the full point there. One of their bottom boards must have won because Grandelius and Magnus are still at it. So that's a huge win for Norway.
Yeah, because they've been mostly carried by their top two boards so far. So it's looking in their favor.
Okay.
All right. Magnus Carlsen is just looking to trade everything off and get that small advantage and convert the endgame into a win.
Yeah, I don't see a great way for Shimanov to keep counterplay.
No, yeah, he definitely shouldn't trade the rooks off. He's just trying to hold the position here.
For those who love following chess celebrities on social media, fun fact about Magnus Carlsen is he's actually been playing this entire day of the Pro Chess League. Maybe that explains some of the trolling by his openings from a bar in Norway while also enjoying a few cold ones. So,
is he really playing from a bar?
Yeah, he's playing on a laptop from a bar while enjoying a few drinks. So
that's hilarious.
So there you go. All right. Well, it's
making him a little more creative.
Making him a little more willing, yeah. And right now he's showing why he's the best player in the world. Converted a worse opening, worse middle game, and now he's in a position where only Black can win. Play A4. Nothing really to think about, although he is.
Yep, yeah. A4.
A4 and... Okay, H5 is a nice move by Shimanov, everybody. Creating this backdoor idea. Did Magnus miss that? What's the idea? What does Magnus see that he doesn't? Queen F7.
We're looking for Queen F7, yeah.
I guess the big issue is it's not actually threatening a draw yet. It looks scary, but the point, everybody, in terms of the analysis is if the queen comes to F7, he's not actually threatening a draw because check and check can be blocked by bishop to F8, and there's nowhere to go. Shout out to Chess Gamertag, who just gifted a sub to Grandmaster Hikaru. Shout out to GM Hikaru.
That's awesome. Thank you, Chess Gamer Tag.
Who is in both chats, active in both chats on Chess TV and Twitch.
F4.
And he misses the check and backdoor, or did he? He plays bishop f6, which is a move that stops bishop e5. That was the key.
Yes, that makes sense. It's now white can't play queen g6 check anymore because he'll just trade it off. So there's no more perpetual here. Oh, he's just promoting. Wow, this was such a good game, and he's just gonna finish clean, sipping his beer from a bar.
Well, now he has to be worried though, because there's a perpetual despite the second queen coming, and that's maybe something he didn't see. And now,
ooh, queen f5 is coming.
Or is there a way out? Maybe we're just.
Maybe
he can just queen. He just blundered. Magnus blundered for the first time in his chess career.
Wait, did he just give up that pawn?
Yeah, he just gave up the pawn.
For no reason?
No reason. This is the face of somebody who's in complete shock about what they just saw. This is white is winning. Magnus just blundered.
No way. I'm still in disbelief. There has to be something we're missing.
Magnus was just winning on the spot. If he got a queen, I don't think there was anywhere to go. And then he just blundered the a-pawn.
Oh, no.
Absolutely insane.
Wait, it's a draw. It's a draw.
He still has a draw, and he ekes it out. He ekes out the draw based solely on the fact that Shimanov makes a blunder. But it was an easy win for Magnus Carlsen until that moment, everybody. Let's back up and just show you probably where the fastest win was, which was all the way over here. I think he could have queened.
Yeah, let's take a look at that on the analysis
board. Queen f5 check, king to g8, queen to. Oh, the idea was. Oh, it was a. Yeah, he couldn't run out. He couldn't run out because of the mate on d6. So what was the winning move here for white, if anything? I mean, sorry, for black.
Why can't white play queen c8 check? Oh, okay, never mind. I'm a little behind on your analysis board, so I'll let you continue with it.
I'm not exactly sure why, but is there a crazy way out of the perpetual? What if black gets a queen, and after queen f5 check, you can play g6?
After g6, you can't just take?
Maybe you can. You can just take it. Okay, so that's not it.
Yeah, that must not be the case.
You know what there was, though? He could have just played king h8. And after queen c8, he can block with the bishop. Queen takes king h7, and there's no more checks.
Wow.
Maybe. I have no idea, but I just am shocked that
it seemed like he was so obviously going to win, and then
amazing. Well, he did manage to hold on to a draw, and I'm pretty sure with that he secured Norway the victory, because the man on board 2, who in the end of the day was just as good as Magnus Carlsen, because Magnus gave up a draw, Grandelius won against Ray Robson.
Awesome.
Which
that was a tough win. Good for a tough.
Yeah, opponent. No, a win where he was not favored to do so, and that's a big reason why Norway moved in. The Montreal Chess Boss finished strong, finishing in the draw column, not in the loss column today, so that's good.
So they came back. That's good news.
Yep. Only a few more games still going. Let's go to one of the other top boards that we have been following closely throughout the day, Grandmaster Alexei Dreyev.
All right.
Taking on one of the Riga magicians. There's not much time left in the day, everybody, and you have seen who wins likely with the Norway Gnomes, but don't go anywhere, because right after this is over, chess streamer extraordinaire Bigfoot will be taking on yours truly, Alexandra.
Yes, I mean,
in a match,
3-hour match after this.
I mean, do you have a plan are you going to go get some coffee, or maybe go the other way and get a different type of beverage?
I already finished one of my coffees. Okay. I'm going to go get another coffee. And the match is going to be starting at 5 p.m. PST, so I have a nice hour and a half.
All right, well,
break.
Before the match starts, though, Bigfoot will be streaming immediately after this, so if you've gotten the chess bug today by watching these amazing games, Magnus Carlsen playing playing some of his best chess, even with that drop draw. The Norway Gnomes have won the late version here of the Super Saturday. I believe that is the final standing. So don't go anywhere, everybody. We are going to be switching to some awesome chess and different type of chess than what you're seeing right now in the Pro Chess League. But I believe the standings are final there, Alexandra. I think the stats we're looking at are final with Carlsen and Grandelius. They rode those horses hard, if you're the Norms.
They did, and they got some help from their lower boards this round too to put them in clear first.
We didn't actually follow his final game, but let's take a quick look at it, because the only person finishing with a perfect 8, I guess I'll show the stats one more time, is Brandon Clark from the Australia Kangaroos. Goes 8 of 8 today. Simply fascinating. And he beat Ina Agres to end the day. I don't think we've seen a non-board 1 have that kind of day in a long time. So let's see how he took care of Ina Agres and won his final game. You and I checked on it when it was a Lopez, but we have to give a shout out, because anytime somebody goes perfect on a day, that's pretty awesome.
That is incredible. They deserve a lot of attention for that. It seems like Ina's rating is still provisional since it's 1200.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that. That doesn't. That's not right. That's a little suspicious. I don't think that's true.
Yeah. First class. She's definitely not just 1200.
Yeah.
Don't believe everything you see on the internet.
That's right. Well, he converts this Lopez with this move knight to g4 that really forced Black's hand to be defensive once the queen came out. Then this nice idea of a5, swinging the queen over, probably almost a forced win of material there. Gets bishop to c2 when Black tries to make things even on d3. And, ends up just winning a pawn and kind of a pretty straightforward and clean game.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Nice, clean chess.
Nice, clean chess. Well, congratulations to Brandon Clark, who looked like he was on his way to joining Magnus Carlsen with a perfect score, but no. Magnus Carlsen finishes by dropping a draw, and with it, we still had an amazing performance overall by the world champion, by the Norway Gnomes. Congratulations to the Hackers, the Surfers, the Windmills, Australia Kangaroos, and the Estonia Horses, all for finishing as winners on the day in the Super Saturday. And for those of you still super obsessed with your fantasy team, check it out right here. This is how your players did. Alexandra, this was a blasty McBlasterson, and I know you have more chess streaming in front of you. Bigfoot is getting set to start, and hopefully all 20,166 of you will stick around for Bigfoot and Alexandra Botez playing here.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
And
there's going to be a lot more trash talk, though, than we were doing.
A lot more trash talk, yep.
It'll be fun. Yeah, thanks for having me today, Danny. This was a lot of fun. And time actually flew by. At first, I thought 4 hours of chess commentary, and then it felt like we were here for 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's like that. Time flies when you're having fun, but then when you get up from your chair and you're a little sore, then you realize you were sitting down for 4 hours. So
yeah, that makes sense. I'll go stretch a little bit before the game.
Well, a shout out one more time before I let you go. Make sure nobody leaves, because right after this, as I said, is Bigfoot streaming. There will be a match between him and Alexandra Botez. And while I have all 20,000 of you, for those of you who missed it, big announcement coming your way with all the details on Monday. Chess Goes Esport. It's our first ever in-person finals for the Pro Chess League, and hopefully much more to come. San Francisco, April 2018. Going to be a ton of fun for the Pro Chess League. The Final Four will take place at the Folsom Street Foundry. So, okay, we are just waiting 1 second to make sure that things are good. And we're going to let you and Bigfoot start preparing for your match.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, have fun, Alexandra. Thanks for being here. Stick around, everybody, and we'll see you later.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. It was a lot of fun.